Back in the saddle again, ladies and gentlemen. And it is Friday, the 8th day of February, 2013. I am your host, Alex Jones, and we will be here live for the next 3 hours and taking your phone calls. You know something? I don't think the end of the world is coming in the next few days, but when the government says there's absolutely no danger, they're such congenital liars, it tends to make me take a double take. And we have asteroid to travel and traverse Earth's satellite zones, NASA says. Now, of course, there are satellites that are close in and satellites that are a little bit further out, but it's still, in the scope of the solar system, this bullet is like in a Looney Tunes when Yosemite Sam shoots at somebody and they say, hey, you missed me, and then you see a hair on their head go, because it's split the hair. This is like, is it Ivanhoe that shoots the arrow and it hits the apple? Yeah, I think it is Ivanhoe that shoots the arrow and it hits the apple. The point is that's what's happening here. And in fact, in the scale of the solar system or in the scale of asteroids, it's so gigantic as well. And it's moving 5 times the speed of a high-velocity rifle round. To give you an idea, a high-velocity rifle round goes about 3,000 feet per second. Yeah. Oh, I was out shooting a 50 cal BMG yesterday. That was absolutely awesome. I'm going to talk more about that in the days to come. We're going to do a video shoot with it, talking about the Second Amendment. But that's a side issue. I took off 24 hours and took the children camping with our kind host, and certainly enjoyed that. Little fishing, little camping, little mini vacation, very restorative. They had a stock tank with some of the biggest stock tank bass I've ever seen. Because usually they overpopulate in the tank and then they start getting smaller. And if you're not a fisher person, you think a tank, not like a fish tank, a small lake. Sometimes every time we cast, we were jerking in like 2-3 pound bass. And I could see some like 10-pounders or more swimming around out there. I tell you what the biggest bass I've ever seen are. They're in Barton Springs. Some of those things have got to weigh 25 pounds, be a state record. Okay, you can tell I've been on vacation mode, 24-hour little sneak vacation. But sleeping out under the stars has never been so good. Problem is we haven't had much of a winter here. I didn't pay enough money to Al Gore. He would fix that. No, I mean, we've had some freezing temperatures, but it was like 60 degrees at night and about 80 degrees yesterday in the afternoon. And I'm now giving you a weather report, so I'm going to stop that right now. Okay, when we come back, I'm going to reset, get focused, and get into the main transmission here. We're going to get into the asteroid. We're going to get into, this little headline up at Infowars.com, Prisonplanet.com. That's kind of important. You might want to go check it out and get it out to everybody you know, because I even noticed the big gun sites haven't even picked up on this. California announces semi-auto confiscation plan. And they just quietly say in the legislation they're announcing that, oh, yeah, it'll be what Cuomo in New York called for and Feinstein has called for. She's out in San Francisco before. A plan to even, take guns from people that already have them. They're like, oh, yeah, and by the way, Antonio Bilderberg, the mayor of L.A., the don of that crime sector, he says, don't worry, I'm going to be coming after those, so get ready to hand them in. Boy, if you think California's already seen an exodus, look out, you're going to see wagon trains going east. So that's coming up. California announced a semi-auto confiscation plan, and it's kind of like the way you let a fart out in church. I'm sorry to use that analogy. It's the only way to do it. William Tell shot the apple off. I don't know why I said Ivanhoe. It's another Robin Hoodian era character. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday, the 8th day of February, 2013. I am your host, Alex Jones, and we are going to be here, Lord willing, for the next few hours and taking your phone calls. And it gets like this more and more every day. But today is a particularly absolutely jam-packed, absolutely crammed, loaded, stacked broadcast. On so many fronts, we're going to report it all. The reported cop killer of these 3 police officers out in Southern California, former Navy veteran and a police officer they ran out of the force a few years ago, who they claim has put out this manifesto saying he's going to go after their families. I've read both of his manifestos, if they're real. And let me tell you, if they're not real, the person deserves a Nobel Prize for Literature, because it sounds exactly like the MO of these mental patients that the system is now tracking and looking for and sifting through, who think it's celebrity to be a cop, who are into the power trip, how much he loves Biden, Obama, how he fantasizes about Hollywood, how he wants us to turn our guns in, but he's going around saying he's going to kill innocent patrol cops. I mean, if he's going to kill people, which I'm not saying he should do, go after the guys he says did something to him. No, he's just randomly shooting patrol cops, reportedly, allegedly. And I've been studying it since yesterday afternoon. Just at a snapshot view, it looks like it's a real shooter. People say, well, how do you know that? It's staged by Obama to have a guy go out and start killing people who's an Obama supporter and loves Joe Biden and says, take the citizens' guns. No, this is not the type of stuff the system wants, okay? Just at a glance, people say, well, how do you know? Well, there's hundreds of points at a glance that just come up. And then I read both of his diatribes, and it's just the exact type of mental illness that I was talking about last week, where all these celebrity wannabes and celebrities are like in this narcissistic delusion. I liken it to what I've seen with 5-year-olds or 3-year-olds dressed up like superheroes or princesses, if it's little girls. They're just feeling so good, and they're having little girls like to have fake beauty pageants or like to play like they're princesses, and they got all the fake jewels on, imagining they're princesses, or little boys imagine that they're G.I. Joe commandos storming Cobra compound, and they get excited because they are modeling that in their mind. And that's what the system does. It goes out and gets, now this is who they target, they admit this is who they look for, kind of weak-minded people. They can put a template down in their mind where even if they're torturing, secret arrests, setting people up, this is how the good guys win. And it's like this fantasy. You can see these type of people. I mean, I could tell whether somebody's a real police officer with a real history, or a real veteran, or somebody who's actually been through some real things and got into things because of family or background, who wanted to really serve. And then you can see types who are just strutting around. I mean, you can tell they're feeling satisfied, and it's like living in the Matrix. They must really be enjoying themselves, but they're not living in reality. And you see this with the McDonald's manager on a power trip being mean to their employees and relishing giving the orders. And I mean, it's not just police, but they look for these types, and I've gone and really looked into this guy, and just, I see all his photos where the eyes are just gleaming and he's smiling. I've seen that look. I've seen that look. It's, I've arrived. I'm a superhero. I'm God. I'm a king. I'm a lord. I'm royalty. I'm a movie star. I'm Marie Antoinette. In fact, there's an article here about politicians becoming like Marie Antoinette in France, where they're on just such power trips, no matter who gets into power. Now the socialists are in there just, spending millions of euros a week on their lavish lifestyle, on total power trips, just breaking down, hanging out with French movie stars. This is what happens when hollow scum gets power. And it is the most disgusting phenomenon. It makes me sick. It absolutely makes me sick. Somebody with real power is humbled by it. Somebody who has a real background is humbled by it, and then also realizes how small they are. And understands how much potential they have, but then understands how you're not living up to it. And then there's so many opportunities, and so many incredible things, and then you see the ugliness and the dumbness of the general public, and it doesn't make you feel good that they're dumbed down and ugly spiritually, but that it makes you feel bad. And you want to lift people up. But it is just absolutely disgusting. So I'm going to be talking about that. See, I can't tell you what's coming up, because I should start writing a what's coming up list after I look at all the news and stuff, because I just tend to, like, whatever I first mention, I just spend 30 minutes on that. This is a big deal with asteroid to diverse Earth's satellite zones, NASA says, and it's just an incredible near miss if you believe what they're saying. And I don't believe this asteroid's going to kill us. they're probably telling the truth. But they lie so much, and NASA's been caught lying so much, that I just automatically have a little twinge of concern. But an asteroid half the size of the U.S. football field will pass between Earth and orbiting satellites next week, sparing the human race from the fate suffered by dinosaurs, NASA says. So we've got a NASA video from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory and some other news we're going to get to. We'll cover that one way or another, guys, at 45 after. I've got to stay on schedule to get to all this. So coming up, I'm going to get into that in T-minus 30 minutes exactly. It's 15 after, 14 minutes, 37 seconds right now into the hour. And then we're going to get into another article dealing with real threats. British schools and hospitals could be at risk in new horse meat fears. Now, look, horse meat is completely editable. Speaking of the French, it's actually a delicacy over there. I'm not saying I like horse meat. I've had it before. But sitting here looking at this, they're all freaking out. This is one of the biggest stories in the country right now, worldwide. It's all they're talking about. Beef lasagna meats, 100% horse meat. Sky News, oh my gosh, reading horse meat. And it just shows how they're scamming people. It shows how the system doesn't trust you. The pink slime, all of it. Folks, that's nothing compared to bromine and the Gatorade. You know, and little girls having babies at age 7 and 8 now and going into puberty at age 3. Yeah, it's age 3. And then it's all in the documents that they picked plastics out of hundreds and hundreds of formulae that would do that to you. See, oh, you're not worried about that, horse meat. Oh, my gosh. I bet people go to jail over this because the system loves that. Send you to jail over selling people horse meat, which it is fraud. They should have their butts sued in the ground, not go to jail. But you put bromine. I mean, you know what bromine does to you? Stunts your growth, accelerates your aging, cancer, behavior problems, neurological disorders, IQ reduction. I drank some Gatorade yesterday just to see, because it's not out yet. They said it's going to be out in the next few months. And I was like, that's why it always has that chemical taste. Because, you know, if you drink alcohol, you know what alcohol tastes like. Bromine's similar. It's like, that's why it's always had that antifreeze taste. Burger King, UK reputation damaged by horse meat scandal. You know who used to be the biggest owner of Burger King? They sold it like 7 years ago. The Queen of England, one of her company divisions, owned it from the time it was founded. You know, it literally is Burger King. Maybe they groom her stool and then put that in the meat, too. I mean, that's a joke, folks. It's Johnny Carson, you'd have a pop-pop-pops. Or I guess that's Letterman. Oh, or maybe he ripped it off from Carson. Johnny Carson. Did you see Kevin Spacey do the Johnny Carson imitation? That was powerful. Yeah, that was powerful. And then Kevin Spacey made some comment about, well, I'm not going to get into it. The point is... Yep, there you go. So it's like, oh, the giant asteroid may kill us. Let's talk about Johnny Carson now. That's what happens when I take off 24 hours and go swimming, fishing, camping, grilling steaks over an open fire, and shooting a 50 cal BMG. I mean, I put the scope on that sucker. We fired about 10 rounds at 300 yards. In 10 rounds, we were dead on the target. And we said, hey, let's get out the Reaper now. All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, boy. So, that said, everybody's freaking out over the horse meat. You know what you should really be freaking out about? It's this article up at prisonplanet.com and infowars.com from naturalnews.com. And I saw this a few weeks ago just in a medical financial / journal about... They were doing some press release for stocks for the company about the first GMO vaccine. And I meant to cover it, but here it is. I'm glad they wrote about it. Jonathan Benson did. FDA approves first GMO flu vaccine containing reprogrammed insect virus. Oh, that's a great idea. Because, you see, normally you can't get diseases that most insects have because their biomechanical system, I see them as biomechanical. I know technically they're not biomechanical, but they really are. And with their little exoskeletons, they are reprogramming, you know, humans with insects, humans with cows, humans with marsupials, humans with just every plant, animal variety you can imagine. And it then allows the diseases And the susceptibility, this has been proven, that a pig had to something that humans didn't, or vice versa, now jumps into that species and allows it to jump into you. I mean, this is the type of thing. And they're doing thousands of these things that I know of every year. Well, they have thousands of laboratories doing tens of thousands of things like this per laboratory per year. So see, it's not thousands of things a year, it's hundreds of thousands a year of just giant factories with robot systems firing with gene guns, splicing everything you can imagine, and then putting it under electron microscopes and putting it in fetal tissue cultures and, you know, hey, let's put it in Pepsi and see what that does. You want to talk about what's probably going to destroy us? It's something like this, not an asteroid. Okay, but an asteroid rates too. But no, we're not worried about that. It's carbon dioxide that plants breathe. Yeah, we need to pay a global tax because of that. That's real bad. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live. I am your host, Alex Jones. We're here Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central, blasting out on XM 166 over 150 AM and FM affiliates. And, of course, the audio streams at Infowars.com and Prisonplanet.com. The video streams at InfoWarsNews.com for the Infowars at Nightly News. You can also find it at Prisonplanet.tv, the original name of our now, 9 or 10 years that we've had Prisonplanet.tv. Okay, let me just fire through some of the headlines. I can do this. And then come back in the next segment and drill into the Second Amendment and then the economy. I've got to get to all this. We've also got Bilderberg 2013, key intel. So that is coming up as well. What they do when it comes to gun grabbing, I'm going to cover this in the next segment, is they just push and push and push and push, and then say, okay, you've won, we're not getting your guns. All right, you won the debate, even though we did win the debate. Then they accelerate the next big push. And everybody goes, well, I won. It's kind of like, you know what? You won the fight, buddy. Fair and square. I started it, you won, you busted my nose. How about you give me a hand? And then the person shakes your hand, and you left hook them right in the jaw. Or like, you know what, help me up. I'm sorry, you beat me, and you throw sand in their eyes. I mean, you've got to understand these are crooks. I mean, as soon as you get that through your head, you understand everything. They see you as a mark, and of course they're going to lie. People think, oh, the liberals, you know, they mean well, they're just dumb. Yeah, they go to the Senate worth $1 million, and some estimates are she's worth $150 million. People corrected me about Dianne Feinstein, so I was using old numbers. I mean, most of them are like that. I'll call her a crook. She's a crook. I don't care if she got a law passed saying that they get a waiver from the Senate Ethics Committee. What if the Senate Ethics Committee gave her a waiver that she could barbecue children on her front lawn? It's like, hey, that woman's got a child on a spit over there, rotating them, roasting them, rotisserie. You know, she's got one of its thighs there like a chicken leg, a turkey leg eating it. Arrest that woman. Oh, no, that's a senator. She's above the law. And, of course, that's where government will lead, is with, you know, Nero roasting children. He actually did that and other things. You know, the Aztecs, the rest of it. I think I said I was going to get to some of the headlines, didn't I? Here it is. California announces semi-auto confiscation plan. Up at Infowars.com, and the breathless CBS News is so excited. Oh, California, the most populous state, is leading the nation. Why, they have a plan to only allow single-shot firearms in the state. That's right, single-shot firearms that only shoot one at a time. And it gets better. Yes, all the people that have the guns that are going to be illegal, well, they got to have a program to make them turn those in. At last, California will be safe for the defrocked police officer to reportedly run around shooting other people. And then it shows cops all over the street running around with their 308 rifles. I saw a bunch of them with the silencers on the end, whatever that's needed for. I guess not to scare the public, or they don't want to wear earphones themselves, or whatever the reason is. And helicopters, people are like out walking around. A woman in a helicopter lands and, why are you videotaping me? You know, it's just insane. I've been out in L.A. quite a bit. I mean, it's like just choppers constantly. Imagine when there's 30,000 drones. They've already budgeted it in last year's FAA funding, 30,000 drones. Can you imagine what it's going to be like? I've already got Army helicopters flying over my house every day because I live off a creek, and I guess they use it to fly off of, as if they don't have all the GPS in there. And it's just constant. And you know, when I tried to get Travis County to not buy another helicopter, it was like $11 million. It flew to my parents' house because for some reason that was my address that I never said as my address, never lived at that house. I was moved out before they moved there. And they came and hovered over the trees. This is like 12 years ago. Now my mom has an iPhone. She would have got it on tape. She comes out. They have the door open on the helicopter they had. They hadn't bought the new ones yet. And flipped her off. That is a great idea. If you're going to come flip me off with my taxpayer paid for helicopter, Travis County, you need to go to the right house. Oh, this crazy former cop with his manifesto and all this, who allegedly, reportedly, it looks pretty bad to me. This fits the real MO, not the staged MO. The big Obama supporter, big Piers Morgan supporter, he says, hey, take the citizens' guns. Look at how he's gone haywire right there. And he says he's going to kill the families, reportedly, of the cops. Kind of like you went over and harassed my mom. Is that how your brains work? We'll be right back with a ton of news, the asteroid, the gun grab, and more.
We're on the
waging war on corruption, crashing through the lies and disinformation. I'm Alex Jones, your host, and we're going to have open phones today. Let me go ahead and fire the toll-free number out for you. It's 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. Wide open phones on any issue you wish to cover. Okay, let me run through, again, a bunch of the news here, and then I'll get back into the Second Amendment and then back into the asteroid report that I haven't even gotten to yet with that video that we're going to be breaking down from NASA. And again, it's not that I think this asteroid's going to kill us. It's that it's coming right by the Earth, and it would, depending on estimates, be about like 100 large hydrogen bombs going off, depending on what type of megaton calculation you look at. That's what they're estimating. Would not be nice. Not be nice. It would probably cool the Earth's temperature down for a couple decades because it would throw so much dust into the atmosphere that we know that's what happens. And I would not want to be within a couple thousand miles of it either. I mean, if it hit something like, say, New York City, there's no New York City left, and no Maryland left, Baltimore, Maryland, D.C., all the way up to Toronto, past Toronto, would be in really bad shape, depending on what type of giant asteroid it is. Well, I said that's coming up, so I'm going to be talking about that. We've got some Bilderberg news and more. Don't forget, we've got some new hot T-shirts, and when I say hot T-shirts, they fund our operation, and that's important to fund this truly independent, pro-liberty, pro-freedom news organization. But expanding on that, we've got the women's pink, come and take it, women's style, women's fit. And they do look extremely good on the ladies because I've had a chance to see some ladies now wearing these. And they are very, very form-fitting. And they are available. It is the pink AK-47 with the right to keep and bear arms inside of the gun, and then come and take it under it, the Texas style. There's a black one with white lettering as well. And we also have the come and take it for men in black. And then we have the new Obama Tyrant Joker, a new Joker design. And it's going to be limited edition. We're going to sell it just in 2013. We've brought that back with a new design. And on the back, it has the come and take it, right to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed. Best-selling shirt design on the back, and on the front it has the Obama Tyrant. And your purchase of these T-shirts at InfoWarsStore.com helps spread the word about liberty when you're on the street, helps you meet like-minded people, and helps fund our operation. So InfoWars.com, Obama Tyrant shirts available at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. We also have in stock the ProPure water filtration stainless steel, blows all the leading competition away with the new Pro 1 filters with the fluoride filter built into the same one filter, impregnated with silver, ceramic, white ceramic, just now light years ahead of the competition. It was already many leagues ahead, but now light years. It's simple. I go out and find the best filter that I choose to use. I go get them as a sponsor. Oh, man, what a novel idea. ProPure, available with the Pro 1 new filters, all available at InfoWarsShop.com or InfoWarsStore.com. Okay, let's stop right there. Wow. Let me just mention what I've got here that I haven't gotten to yet, and then I'll get into the asteroid news and the NASA report. Look at this. The Benghazi thing is really starting to blow up. General on Benghazi, we never received a request for support from the State Department. And, of course, the State Department said that they had requested support, but in the hour of the attack, things were bad communication, so no one can remember what happened. You can always tell when somebody's lying because it's all vague. Turns out they were never asked. The chairman says he was never asked, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dempsey, but he's saying, I do not blame the State Department. And now we're hearing Panetta said Obama was absent night of Benghazi raid. We've been told he was at the White House and, of course, would have gotten that special briefing. Let's get Colonel Schaefer on about this immediately, guys. Anthony Schaefer, it's time to get him back on. No word from Hillary during an Benghazi attack. They're now saying that she was out of the loop. This is really getting ridiculous. But don't worry, there's a new poll out by Quinnipiac University saying Hillary is the most popular person in America. And then, second after that is herpes, gonorrhea, and leeches and cancer. She even beat out cancer as most popular. It's now number 5. I mean, I believe this poll. I believe cancer is the 5th most popular person in America. I mean, this poll. I mean, everybody loves Hillary Clinton. Everybody loves to turn their guns in. I mean, there's a mandate right now, a big mandate, that Republicans should not have any conservatism and turn their guns in and have totally open borders and government-financed abortion. And the Boy Scouts will all be taught for their first merit badge how to be gay. And then second merit badge is how to report on your parents' firearms. And I'm not even joking about that. I mean, that's completely normal. That's conservative. And if conservatives want to be in the game, Karl Rove, American Crossroads, has said he agrees with the Democrats in this big hoax they're running. Well, okay, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Hillary is the most popular person in America. I mean, I believe that. I believe that like I believe jumping off a cliff would be fun, You guys believe that, don't you? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, Reuters is picking it up. My goodness, they had a poll at this university. What they do, go to like a communist studies class or something? Who's your favorite person? Oh, that'd be Hillary. You know what? I bet I could go to a Ku Klux Klan rally. You know what? I bet we should do this as a really sick parody. Actually find a real Klan rally. Well, last time I went to protest when they threatened to kill me and stuff, maybe that's not a good idea. Anyways, the point is, go to it and say, yeah, we conducted a poll at the Northwoods University. Just call it that and go, and here's the dean, the Grand Dragon, and here's all his other associates. Who's your favorite person in America? And they'll say, Adolf Hitler. We'll go, well, the university poll finds Adolf Hitler is the most popular person in America. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna settle down. I've got some serious news to talk about here, but oh boy. Anyways, I've been watching all this. As Glenn Beck says, Karl Rove is a fake conservative. Follow me and Freedom Works and Dick Armey. And then you've got Rove firing back. I'm the real conservative. You're destroying America. Karl Rove, I raised $400 million and got 2 people elected, and you didn't get anybody elected. And Freedom Works is like, how dare you? They don't know how to defend themselves. Freedom Works is not perfect, and I don't really trust Dick Armey, but they actually have done some pretty good things. Even though Glenn Beck's associated with it, I will tell you, it is a lot better than Karl Rove. You know, on the scale of things, it's like they say in Ghostbusters, you know, imagine paranormal activity, each one of these ghosts being one Twinkie. Well, imagine a Twinkie, you know, 80 feet long and weighing about 30 tons or whatever they say. And he goes, that's a big Twinkie. I mean, you know, well, I have to use the scatological stuff. So we're talking about Karl Rove. He's really obsessed with that, and all he talks about is poop all day. You didn't know that his nickname is Turd Blossom by George W. Bush. Karl Rove is like a 80-foot-long, 20-ton turd. And then Glenn Beck is like, you know, he's like a porta potty that's been at the Super Bowl. I mean, it's fully loaded, like a fully loaded, you know, baked potato. And, you know, his estrogen loaded. Anyways, I'm sorry. So you got all. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be mean like that. I always watch Glenn Beck prancing around, trying to act manly, and just the whole thing. Because some guys who are really tough try to act gentlemanly and effeminate. It's the opposite, though, of like some British fencer that'll kill you in 5 seconds and slit your throat and turn into a demon and climb around on top tables, versus people that really are Nelly like that. And it's not bad. I mean, it's okay, Glenn. Anyways, the point is, well, he has fantasies about me and Charlie Sheen. Have you heard those? I'm not joking. He constantly on air fantasizes about gay sex and stuff with me and Charlie Sheen. Hey, dude, Charlie likes women. I'm going to give you a little news flash. Believe me, I've probably stayed at his house 15 times. Talk about a conspiracy theory. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm going to stop right there. I have now entered the Twilight Zone. I think it's good therapy for me to go out and shoot the 50 cal. My buddy had never shot a 50 cal, and he just said, oh, my God, I'm in love. I've got to have one of these. Well, good luck. The Barretts are about a year back ordered because the Department of Defense is buying all of them. By the way, guys, will you print me the story from yesterday? Did you know they've bought another 22 million bullets? It's 22 million, wasn't it? I was just listening to Watson on the air and heard them covering it. Yeah, 22 million more. So you add it all up, it's something like 1.7 billion bullets since November 2011, like 14 months ago. Pretty darn amazing. Yeah, DHS purchases 21.6 million more rounds of ammunition. My brain rounded up, but it's proper to it, 21.6. Didn't do too good in school. Don't know much about history. Don't know much about geography. Don't know too much in the books I read, but yeah, that would be really good intro music. I had that about 15 years ago. So I want Sam Cooke. Don't know much about his story, but I do know that I love you. Man. Anyways, getting back. I'm just so happy about the asteroid. It's asteroid time. Asteroid party. All right. Oh, man, Richard took me sprinting this morning. He said, Alex, you're swimming 2 miles a day. You're jogging 3-4 miles. You're lifting weights and you're getting fatter. And he goes, you've put your body into stress mode. You got to go sprint. And he took me sprinting. And I probably hadn't really sprinted full power since I did one stint of track and when I was a freshman. And it just felt so good to get my hippopotamus. I'm not really that fat. When I'm sitting over, I look fat, but the point, I'm a little overweight. I lost a lot of weight, then quit doing all the longevity. Now I'm going back to doing it. This is not a morning zoo show. You know, I think I am starting to go a little crazy, though, I'm being honest with everybody, because I have just been, I mean, a man can only take so much of this baloney. You know what it is, why I'm laughing? It's so ridiculous. A poll put out by some Soviet-style university that Hillary's the most popular person in America, period. Who is the most popular person in America in real polls? Because you got real polls. It's the lying ones that give the rest the bad name. You got to go off word of mouth, common sense, and then go look at what the real PR firms are saying to each other and what companies are really targeting. Because, see, they'll put out anti-gun propaganda while trying to sell you all the gun movies and gun products. You see, it's the same thing. They sell what they want at you if it's propaganda-wise. When it comes to selling product for profit, everybody knows that Hillary Clinton's probably got about a 5% approval rating with the general public. Okay, let's just stop right there. You know, the Clintons would never do anything like that. Let's just do this. Let's get into the asteroid right now. Let's go ahead and play this clip on DA-14, the asteroid. And this is from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And they're telling everyone that do not worry, remain calm. Don't worry about all those spaceships you see taking off, all the space shuttles out of underground bunkers. Never mind, Godzilla just came out of the sea and is attacking Tokyo. Let me see who's calling from an unknown number. Hello. Hey, how are you doing? We still on for that? Okay, so we're not. You want to do it next week, or is that too late? All right, well, I understand. Let me do this. Let me call you back in like 3 minutes, okay? All right, thanks, bye. Geraldo Rivera had me booked for his Saturday show, and then the winter storm hit and everything, so I was going to have fun going on talking about the Super Bowl and the Illuminati. Too bad. Too bad. I was looking forward to that. Because, I mean, they were like, yeah, you're right. It was 33 minutes of dark. And, yeah, she did do the hand sign. And I'm not going to explain what it means when the Illuminati, but she does the hand sign of the all-seeing eye and then while shoving a microphone into it. So it means something else as well. I didn't even get into that. Okay. You know what? You know what's happening? I'm not doing the asteroid justice here. And I want to do a serious report on asteroids and then real threats facing us, which asteroids are on the... I should do a top 10 threats from my perspective. I have to go check all the statistics. What, one of the top 10 threats is... No. She's one of the top 10 reasons the world's so wonderful. There's a poll out on it. Again, she's number 1. Cancer is number 2, is most popular. Heart disease is number 3, the most popular person in America. Car wrecks is number 4. Brain hemorrhaging and strokes is number 5, most popular person in America. Being run over by a car is number 6. Having I guess having your child die is number 7. I mean, this is stuff that's popular. I guess the SWAT teaming the wrong house and killing your dog, that's number 8. I mean, because I could go conduct a poll on that. I mean, I could find a select group and do that. Now, what we're going to do is I'll just take phone calls for a couple segments because that little piece of news sent me off into a bad place mentally, a good place where I don't want to focus on all this. And then I'll get into the economy, and I'll get into the Bilderberg news, and I'll get into Clint Eastwood says if D.C. doesn't give a damn, how can we? And we're going to play that clip for you. The princess wife of the communist scumbag running France says she has a Marie Antoinette syndrome of life of luxury. This is a really important article because it plays to so many of the bureaucrats and cops and others that think they're God and get this royal attitude. This North Korean dictator type just swaggering. The same look you see in North Korean police, you're starting to see in big city cops' eyes. In like New York, Chicago, L.A., I've seen it. And it's you see it, you're like, man, that's a bad person. The swagger, the satisfaction, the arrogance. Oh, hi, officer. Can you tell me where? And I've done this in New York since it happened to me first, for real. Many times when I'm there, I'll see some police standing around with their hats sideways, smoking cigarettes, cigars, bellies hanging out. And they're on duty. You're like, oh, hi, officer. Can you tell me where Central Park is? Do I look like a phone book or a directory? Don't you have a smartphone? Where are you from? And if you act scared, they'll go, all right, I tell you. Oh, come over here, stupid little monkey boy, and I'll tell you where it's at. But if you actually bow up to them, they'll be like, go away. Where are you going? And your buddy talks, did I tell you to talk? This is actually on video in martial law. I'm talking to this guy. What, you Mr. Tough Guy, huh? Hey, you from Texas? You think you're real tough being from down there in Texas, eh? We'll be right back. Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. Looking back. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. I just want to apologize for talking bad about Hillary Clinton, the most popular person in America. According to a poll, Reuters is carrying it. Newsflash. Newsflash. The moon is made of cheese. There's no... Look at that smile. Oh, my gosh, that woman makes me sick. Get her off the screen. Don't they ever go away? I've been hating this woman for 20-something years. Get out of my life, woman. Go back to hell where you crawled out of. Goodness. And stop feeding us such bull. After I take a bunch of calls and settle down, I will get into the asteroid, and it's very serious because it ties into a bunch of other stuff. And the whole policies of the globalists and how nuts they are. They're drinking their own Kool-Aid. And they have Marie Antoinette syndrome. I've said that many times. Now the media is saying it. The economy is so incredibly important. We've got video of the Greeks fighting with each other over food, just like Argentina in 2000. And boy, let me tell you, that stuff starts up here. That's why they want the guns now, or to demonize the use of guns now ahead of the collapse. That's why government's digging in. Did you notice that this guy shoots 3 cops and they've got half of California from the middle down paralyzed? No bike cops from halfway up the state all the way down to Mexico. No bicycles, no motorcycles. They're even pulling people out of a lot of the cars in total fear, when still statistically, I guarantee you, the cops die every week in California in car wrecks. I mean, I see it all the time in Texas. They die every couple days. And I know it's not all sexy, like getting shot by a .223 round or whatever the guy's using. Look, they look like .223 because it's small rifle holes in the windows of their cars. But, I mean, they are just... What do you think is going to happen when a civil war starts, guys? You know how many Nazis got killed trying to take over different countries? I mean, it was not fun. They ran out of people. And by the way, I'm not saying you're Nazis. I'm saying if you go along with the globalist program and become the authoritarians, let me explain this math to you one more time, doing you a favor here. It's like telling your 5-year-old, don't play in traffic, or telling a 2-year-old, don't stick safety pins in the light sockets, honey. Because you get to the point where your 3-year-old is trying to pull the plug protector off and trying to stick something in it. And you go, listen, I got a French bulldog. His name's Sparky. He had this name before he started doing this. I got another one called Captain. He likes to chew the wires. And one time we're asleep, or about to go to sleep, and there's this big white flash in the room. And Sparky had chewed through, this is just last year, through the cord, and it exploded in his mouth. And he just had a little burns. But the point was, it blew the breakers. The power went off. The air conditioner went off, or it would have killed him. But, the power instantly went off, so he got a short shock. Did you know he chewed a couple more cords before he really got shocked and finally quit doing it? That dog learned to stop doing it. So I'm going to tell you something right now as a real friend, okay? Don't chew electrical wires. I know it's a conspiracy theory that there's invisible energy flowing through there. You got to be able to see it, but I assure you it's in there. There is electricity in that. And Hillary Clinton is not popular. I mean, I know it's a conspiracy. Having your own opinion is a conspiracy. And you must receive what the mainstream media says, or you're a conspiracy theorist. You should believe congenital liars. But I promise, I'm not going on a limb here. There are electrons and neurons going through there at high speed. It's called focused power. It's electricity. It's almost like it's particle beams. Electricity is a focus-controlled form of particle beam down conductive wiring. That's what electricity is in your house. And you don't want to chew those electrical cords. Now, I want to tell the police something, okay? The dog didn't understand me. He kept doing it until he finally figured out those little snakes, or whatever he thinks they are, hurt. You don't want to try to disarm the 160 million gun owners and start harassing us and messing with us and then get a war going. Because if 1% fights back, that's 1.6 million combatants who all they got to do is go out and bag one cop, disappear, and every cop in America is dead, which we don't want that to happen. We'll be right back. All right, we're going to go to your phone calls, and then we've discovered the new location in Bilderberg so early this year, I find it hard to believe, but a lot of evidence pointing towards that. They're coming for the guns. And see, I've kind of gotten acclimated to it. Yeah, California says they got the votes to make you turn in all your semi-autos. It's no big deal, though. We're conspiracy theorists. We told you that was coming, but it's been proven right, but I'm still bad. Let's go to your phone calls. Jonathan in New York, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Brother Alex. How you doing, man?
I am doing pretty good, Commander.
Nice. Long-time listener since 2004, first-time caller. I live in New York State, and it's just amazing what's happening here. I feel like a black sheep. I've lived here for 28 years, and I definitely don't belong politically wise or anything. It's amazing. My question for you is, you had a rant sometime, I think, last week about how you don't like cowards, women don't like cowards, people don't like cowards. And I want to know, if you were able to, that one little rant, put it on YouTube so I'm able to watch it on a daily basis and for other people to watch it on a daily basis?
I don't remember what day it was, and we don't have the crew, the staff, the money to do this, but yes, if we took my better little factoid rant nuggets and gave them good names and put them out and kind of had a rant gallery, they'd be incredibly popular. We just dump stuff out in big, giant... We do on Prisonplanet.tv. John Bound takes the better rants and puts them up on Prisonplanet.tv. Do you remember what day it was, caller? And John will get that. We should call it Alex Jones, God Hates a Coward. And it would go viral.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Now, you have to understand, people that are awake don't like cowards. Women that are awake like real men. Younger women that buy into the sitcom and drama world, they think a wimpy husband and somebody that follows behind them that acts as a butler is going to satisfy them. And that's why they have divorce after divorce, because men then are told, act like fools, act weak, act stupid, act like the guy in the sitcom, you'll get all the women. And those guys are going, I'm not getting any women or not, good women. I'm not finding my mate here. I better act even dumber and more nonsensical. Let me tell you, when you're focused, confident, and serious, to men out there, you're not going to have a problem with the ladies. I mean, ladies, want somebody who's real. Oh, women are just so good. Anyways, getting back to what I was saying, it's important. Life is just good. And that's why I hate the tyrants. I don't like watching something so good and so powerful and so real and so electric, so magic, being desecrated by gangs of lesser people that gang up together, black, white, old, young, you name it, into group identities to then go enslave the rest of us. And that's what humans do over and over again. The same nightmare, the same Groundhog Day, the same permutation. Every group does the same thing. And I'm just like, hey, it's time to learn from the past and not repeat it. It's time to take the better examples of our better angels, as it was said, and build towards a better future. And then they go, oh, that's how you lose, the cynical fool says. Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And see, when tyranny's taking over, you can get ahead if you're willing to sell people out and stuff for a while. But then all the resources run out, and then the common sense gets attacked. If we just make things really evil, then we can thrive. And then they get rid of common sense, then they shut down their competition, everything collapses, and then they're wondering, why did everything get so bad so quick? It's because living in a world, liars think that when they lie to their friends, lie to their family, when they cheat people, when they screw people, they're getting ahead. And they enjoy it. It's like, I found the secret. I'm winning. And you're not winning. It's like going and playing a card game and cheating. What is the point of playing the card game? And they're very unhappy people. These globalists are very unhappy people. They're very, very unhappy people. God bless you, sir. I appreciate your call. All right, we're going to go to Matt, Jeremy, John, Patriot Poet, and Wilbur straight ahead. The toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. Stay with us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this Friday edition of the Worldwide Transmission. It is the 8th day. The 8th day of February 2013. Coming up in the next hour, I'll continue with your calls and a ton of news. In fact, I'm going to take calls right now. Then at the bottom of the hour, I'm going to get into Shades of Sandy. Drivers face long lines at gas stations before another West Coast blizzard. And I wonder if people are going to beg for FEMA to show up when they never do, except to take your property in the aftermath. Or I wonder if FEMA, like they did in New Jersey and New York, will put up signs saying, gone because of storm, closed because of storm. Wow. Wow. A giant federal agency that gets how many billions of dollars a year? Gone for storm. And everybody like begging the government to help them. I mean, you got to be self-sufficient or at least try or count on your neighbors, folks. Neighbors, that's the millions of people, not the government bureaucrats who are too busy strutting around, acting official and powerful. Speaking of strutting around, man, I got the news articles I'm going to cover at the bottom of the hour. The police in Southern California are shooting up trucks randomly. The reported former cop that's gone crazy with these manifestos, if it's real, it looks like it is, has the MO of something real, is killed 3 cops, says he'll kill more, burn up his silver truck. So a blue truck of the same make and model, but I mean, there's millions of that truck in the U.S. They shot up 2 women in a truck, and they're like beating people up and pulling them out of cars. And And like, there's video up at Infowars.com where this woman and her boyfriend are out in the middle of the desert rock hounding, and the helicopter flies around them, and then the helicopter lands. Why are you filming me? And, who are you? Here, he runs their background. He goes, well, I'm going to search you now without a warrant, and searches them, and then goes and gets back in his helicopter and takes off. And that was before the murder. Oh, really? I was misunderstanding that because I was reading all the comments, imagining, because this video just came out yesterday, oh, this must be in a manhunt. And people think this is so unreasonable. Well, this has to be part of the manhunt. It turns out it's not. I mean, that is so incredibly crazy that in America, this video's up at Infowars.com. Now, if you're walking around a mile off the highway, something I've done many times, just in the middle of the desert, high desert of California, a lot of times I'll just stop the car. Hey, let's go climb that little knoll over there. Yeah, we just get some exercise. And I just cannot imagine the police flying around you in a helicopter and then getting aggressive. Don't video me. I'm going to land. I mean, government has just gone crazy. A video cop lands helicopter to harass woman. And then it comes flying right over the top of the hill, really low, and comes right in and it jumps out and asks her what she's up to. Is that where our tax money goes? Like each citizen will be assigned a helicopter to follow them around? Or during the day, we can work at the helicopter bases and serve them and give massages to the police and maybe worship them. Just have like a worship center and we all bow down to them. Okay, I'm sorry. Look, I'm not anti-police, but, we know police are bad in North Korea. We know police were bad in communist Russia. We know police are bad in Cuba under communism. We know they're bad in all these authoritarian states. When you watch an old movie reenacting real things that happened in history, with issues in Rome or something, where they had the Praetorian enforcers and police and they could just do whatever they wanted or rape your daughter if they wanted or take your money if they wanted. In Mexico, the cops are bad by and large, incredibly bad, incredibly corrupt, shaking people down. I remember driving in, Volkswagen when I was like 8 years old in Mexico, rented from Cancun to, I think it was Chichen Itza or something, and driving a few hours, stopping, eating. And the cops sitting there at a checkpoint, and they pull up and demand money from my dad. And I've seen that done to other people. And that's just what it is. But nowadays, that'll be treason. Because the image of North Korea's dictator, the image of police, the image of government is God. It's like an idol. It's like in Raiders of the Lost Ark where he's got the gold idol at the beginning of the movie and he's running and the bad guy gets him and gets the idol, and then they do whatever he says because he has the idol, and the guy holds the idol up, and the natives all bow down to it. That woman should have hit her knees when that helicopter landed. I mean, she should have hit her knees. No. To honor the officer, she should have pulled out a knife and slit her throat and said, I offer you blood, like the Aztecs did, and just sprayed her carotid artery blood all over the sand. Guys, isn't that what you should do when a god of... Yeah. I mean, if you see a cop and you have a child, you need to carry a blender with you, hooked up, and just cram a baby right in it. I give you offering. I'm sorry. I know. I mean, that's what governments always demand is our children. Every culture ends up demanding human sacrifice of children. Well, we'll play part of that video later. It's 9 minutes long. It's up on Infowars.com. Here's some of the headlines up at Infowars.com. Seattle mayor banned police from using drones. That's more like it. Dems in Colorado moved to hold gun manufacturers liable for shootings. Oh, yeah. And now they want insurance on gun owners. Imagine if Christopher Dorner, you know what? You got to then demand all knife makers. You got to have insurance to have a knife. And that's where it's going. The big banks own the insurance companies. They're going to make you get government socialist health care. They're going to make you get more and more in your cars. The price will go up because they can force you to do it. They're going to make you pay to have knives, make you pay to be a parent. They're talking about insurance. Imagine if Christopher Dorner was a Tea Party member. Paul Watson's got a key article. In fact, I didn't print that one. You guys print me that. And California announces semi-auto confiscation plan. Yeah, all semi-autos to be banned and turned in. Only bolt action or single shot to be allowed. And then it'll be like other countries. Once they ban that, they always then ban the single shot. And they're now trying that in Australia right now, while the government goes full auto and buys giant armored vehicles. Anyways, 30-year CIA vet talks false flags at Brookings Institute. They have a 30-year CIA veteran has gone public, very highly respected, saying our government's staging terror attacks in Africa as a pretext to invade. That's the Brookings Institution. That's where you go when you're already a double PhD and have already headed some billion-dollar company or something. And that's all like former secretaries of state, former secretaries of treasury. Doesn't get any more elitist. Dr. Paul Craig Roberts has been at the Brookings Institute. That's where elites go to really, who can't understand it all. Okay, how do I go and understand how this really works? So it's a public paper they put out where he wrote a paper admitting our government staging terror attacks and running Al-Qaeda. I mean, can't we just admit what's admitted? I mean, I'm on Piers Morgan. He goes, you're the guy that says George W. Bush did 9/11. And I didn't have time to even say, no, George W. Bush is a complete puppet. If you see the new hacked photos, who lives in the bathtub, drawing pictures. Obama is an active globalist, but he's not running things. He goes from meeting to meeting to meeting. It's like the president of a company is usually the PR guy who has to go to the golf events and go talk to the little old ladies and, the PR and then the CEO and, the heads of strategy and the chief technology officers and the futurist board. That's who's running the company. And presidents are, well, I just said they're like company presidents. Does that mean they're like presidents? I mean, that's what it's modeled after right there. The president is somebody the Congress likes, the people like, somebody we trust to be the face of a war if Congress has to declare it. See, now all of that's being turned around backwards. And, of course, who controlled the Congress until 1913 with the 17th Amendment was the states, the state legislatures. They ran the show. Davy Crockett didn't do what he was told in Congress. They called him back. What was it, Tennessee? They called old Davy Crockett back. He wasn't doing what they said. Listen, get down here, boy. We sent you up to do what we told you. The states controlled the senators. You didn't elect the senator. You elected your representative who you knew and who you could go visit with, and then he or she, they went up there and put the senator in. And then you popularly elected the House members. So it was all meant to separate power. The most separated group with the state legislatures, 20 or 30 of them at the time, depending on which period, and then all up there so you don't get a dictator. And then they don't even trust the president when this country was set up. You don't get to commission officers. The president, if he was a tyrant, like had happened in countless other countries, would become a king. And how would he do that? He would appoint his officer corps. He would go pick men who would bring in a dictatorship for him. When the Germans wanted to take over in the mid-1930s in the U.S., they did the same thing they tried in England, where they went and recruited the prince, who later became the king, who'd be their puppet king when they took over. They didn't know they'd been double infiltrated. The globalists had actually put them in power to set them up. They're like, oh, no, Nazis, we're not going to let you take over. See, we put you in power, and you don't even know that because you're arrogant and on power trips and don't know you've been set up by British intelligence mind that ran the British Empire. Because your arrogance is your undoing, Hitler. You were put in by British intelligence. It's now been declassified. Ha-ha, you moron. Anyways, so they came over here and they went to Smedley Butler, the two-time Congressional Medal of Honor Marine Corps general, and a bunch of others, and got them all in big meetings and said, we're going to make you all basically dictators, and Smedley will make you president if you go along with all this. Well, because the Nazis were like, we like a war hero as the president. How would you like to be the American Fuhrer? And Prescott Bush here will be your vice president. How does that sound? Why, that just sounds swell to me, boss. And he went and set him up and brought him down. Didn't mean Roosevelt was any better. He was wanting to make deals with Stalin. The point is that that's how this stuff works. And so that's why you have separation of power and government. I haven't gotten to the news. I'm going to go to your calls in the next segment. We're going to go to Matt, and then we're going to go to Patriot, Poet, and Jeremy, and John, and Dr. Jones. Is that my dad calling? No, that's in North Carolina. Navy man facing charges. We'll see what he has to say. All of this and more straight ahead. And then I'll get into the asteroid, I promise, that's going to pass the closest of any large asteroid in recent record. And the government says everything's fine, so I'm sure it is. And a lot more. Stay with us. Again, I cannot cannot encourage you enough to go to Infowars.com because there's a ton of news we don't get to on the radio that is up on the site, videos, audio. I got to say, it's the best site out there overall for anti-New World Order, pro-liberty news. For just general fast-breaking news and full spectrum, DrudgeReport.com is about as good as it gets. And Drudge carried our article about 21.6 million more bullets bought by Homeland Security. I'm going to be talking about that after calls. But no free man shall ever be debarred the use of arms. Thomas Jefferson, we have a great little factoid slash meme, and we put more and more stuff like that on the front page of prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com. Go and copy that and repost it to Facebook. There's a reason they've been trying to block stuff like that, because we have power. Just constantly be waking people up, constantly be a porky pig, constantly be the porky pig, constantly be a beacon of liberty. It's a propaganda war. We use truth, common sense. They use lies. Okay, let's go to your calls. Matt in Washington, D.C., thank you for holding. You are on the air, sir.
Hey, Alex, thanks for taking my call. The solution I wanted to bring to the table today is food cooperatives. However, as a board director, I can tell you through personal experience that food cooperatives are in a battle right now. The old generation of co-op hippies from the 60s think that the fight has been won. They think that because organic and natural is now mainstream, there's nothing more to fight for. John Mackey, the founder of Whole Foods, actually came out of co-ops. Your listeners know that organic and natural food became more popular, and the integrity of these terms are now being sacrificed. It's interesting that all the largest organic retailers make up the panel that determines what can be considered certified organic. Do you think they have the people's in mind or their stockholders' interest at heart? Cooperatives are member-owned and operated. It takes volunteer and sacrifice. But people have a grocery store they own and can vote on decisions to take that power back. I would like to call upon Alex Jones listeners in the Austin area to mark your calendars for June 6th, 7th, and 8th. There's the largest cooperative conference in the country taking place, sponsored by the Wheatfield Co-op in Austin, Texas. If you, Alex, and your team could get involved in this conference directly or indirectly.
Yeah, it'd be great. Listen, here's the deal. I'm not a big fan of people calling in with red statements because it just sounds so canned. But yes, the globalists, if they can't beat it, they join it. So now they're saying you're basically of the devil if you don't like GMO. And I mean, we're not talking about crossing two plants or varieties. We're talking about putting insect genes in it, you name it. This stuff's deadly. And Whole Foods is just totally caved in because they were going to basically put the guy in jail with SEC stuff on stock manipulation or whatever that they were alleging. So it's very sad. But, yes, we need to get away from GMO. I totally agree with you, and I appreciate your call. Let's go ahead and talk to Patriot Poet in Michigan. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Mr. Jones.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, what's up, man? Listen, first I want to compliment you on your absurd video on being a snitch for big cisgender Dunville Napolitano. That's hilarious.
Which one is that? The one where I play the part of a...
When you're in the grocery store, yeah. When you're in your grocery store.
I got to do it for Janet. Now I'm a member of an elite team. Every member of the American population is now a terrorist. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
What's that video called? It's called Snitch Society, Alex Jones.
Yeah, listen, there's I want to get to my talking points. I just want to blitz through this real quick. There's a video a movie coming out called Snitch with that rock guy. It's about his son taking out, his son's got a drug problem, and his dad takes out a whole drug cartel or something. It's called Snitch, straight up. They're just coming out with this shit. Snitch. Excuse my... I got to let you go, buddy. Yeah, I'd love to be able to hear from you, but then we got to delay you out, and it's like fun to cuss on air, I know, but then we have to delay you out, and I just got to let you go. I wanted to be able to hear what you had to say, but sorry. Let's go ahead and talk to Jeremy in Texas. You're on the air, sir.
How you doing, Alex?
Good, sir.
I've seen all your movies, man. I'm a truther yourself. I've done all my homework and all this, but I have a more personal problem I need your help with, maybe. The state of Texas accused me of something that I was ruled out of, and then I was taken to court. And then when I tried to tell them, they weren't giving me a lawyer or anything, and when I tried to tell the judge constitutionally there was nothing wrong, no, they just told me I had no rights, I had to shut up, and they actually made 12 guards force me out of the courthouse out onto the street. Told me if I
Yeah,
didn't
sir,
leave
judicial
it,
tyranny is absolutely insane. They're arresting people everywhere for not vaccinating their children when there's no law. They're arresting people that don't want their 10-year-old to have an abortion and say no. They're making churches pay for abortions. Next, they'll have them in the factories, you know, like at Foxconn and Al Gore's Apple system. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just, I mean, I can't help everybody. I mean, you know, the caller's like, come to our Wheatsville co-op, come do our thing. I mean, I'm totally overwhelmed. Yes, we have tyranny coming down on us, and they put people in jail all the time for things that aren't even in the code, or they use fraudulent code because they've got kept juries that would put a newborn baby in prison.
We're on the march.
What movie is it where they are talking to kids and one says, do you have asteroids? The video game? He goes, do you have asteroids? No, but my dad does. We're going to be, yeah, National Lampoons. There you go. We're going to be going over asteroids of diverse Earth satellite zones, NASA says, coming up here after I take some more calls. And again, we don't screen your calls. Sometimes they're great calls. Sometimes they're terrible calls. I'm not saying the last callers were terrible. I have people calling here every day saying the government just took my newborn baby for no reason because I wouldn't take vaccines. What do I do? Well, I mean, it's totally illegal. There's no law to take it, but they've got these family courts that are totally criminal. And all I can do is say, stand up, America. You know a hospital's dangerous. Know your rights. Have it in the birth plan beforehand that you're not getting vaccines. Know that it's not illegal. Know that when they take your kid, they're going to trick you into agreeing that you were having some type of malfeasance or were neglective. See, they take your kid to get you scared and have you sign papers to give them away. They're kidnappers. We'll give you the kid back. You sign the papers. Don't read them. Sign it. I mean, it's knowing crooks have taken over, and the crooks are in such power that everybody just does what they say. The average nurse isn't a crook. They're just sacks of cowardly, follower, TV head, hollow garbage. You know, I don't like the evil people that know what they're doing, but at least I respect them because I know they've decided to join Satan. And, you know, just hugged Satan and said, take me straight to Hades, the fastest express elevator you've got. But the soft, focused on themselves, lazy, fake people that are there greasing and oiling the sled that we're going to go down into hell in. I don't like you. I don't like your beady eyes. I don't like your cowardly ways. I don't like your chicken neck. You understand me, you filth? Believe me, I know all about the crimes. I know all about what they're doing to people right now. It makes me angry. I empathize with all these people, okay? I can hear and feel their screams. I don't like it. The globalists do, though. It's like music to their ears. You know, you don't like, I don't like nails on a chalkboard. They like it. You know, a lot of people don't like being beaten with bullwhips, but there are people that do. And I got to go to your calls or I'll never get to them. We're going to get into the reported cop who's running around shooting people and then how the police are involved in an orgy of violence against the citizens. I see the videos of the police in Southern California, and so many of them look like they're angry and feeling sorry for themselves, and it's also real exciting. You know, you got a better chance dying driving down the road than you do being shot by this guy, so stop drama queening. And stop shooting up. It's like, oh, they shot up some women who were in a similar truck. Really? Totally different color? Women throwing papers on a paper route out. One woman driving, another woman throwing papers out. You don't know what that is. And you shoot them. Shoot one in the head, shoot one in the back. And there's no apologies. There's no, it's like, well, you know, they're scared. It's like, oh, well, I mean, why not just shoot up a school bus then? You know, hey, you know, we're a little concerned right now. Why not have like Laws rockets and just shoot them into the nearest school bus? You know, there might be a terrorist on that school bus. Let's just blow that up. And I'm telling you what it is. The psychology of this is a lot of these cops join the military to be Rambo at first. And again, police join to be police because their family have been police. Or because they have a military background, they don't know what other job to get, and then they join the military because of family reasons or convictions or whatever. There's a lot of good people in the military, a lot of good police, but the people running the military and police are bad, so it doesn't matter. You're being used as a tool incrementally to do stuff that's unconstitutional, therefore you become the problem. And I thought this video I saw where the cop lands the helicopter out in Southern California in the desert and harasses her and her boyfriend who are just walking along rock hunting and then frisk them without probable cause. I thought that was because of this manhunt. It's not. But it's just the attitude of you know what, we may shoot you as we feel like it, because one guy who joined the Navy and all this anti-terror commando training, and he loves Obama and he loves Biden. This is the alleged guy. And you read his manifesto, it's just into the childlike mind of these people. I've been around it. I've seen it. I know it. These people are little kids. I watched the Austin police cadets one morning because Barton Springs was closed. I watched them at Deep Eddy do swim training, and about a third of them couldn't swim and were just fighting, and they have to pull them out. The others swam okay, and then the, quote, commando guys jumped in, go, I'll show you how to swim, watch this. And they were not good swimmers. And I'm not somebody who's like Mr. Sports jock tough guy, but I bet you money, if I randomly pulled up at any park and told 30 guys, hey, come over here, we're doing a contest, see who the best swimmer is, I'll guarantee you that they would be 10 times better swimmers. I mean, I was freaked out. I was freaked out watching the police cadets. And I went over and talked to some of the cops when they were coming back up, and I go, so are you guys, what is this? Are you new? You've been accepted to the cadet thing? And they're like, yeah, we're not new. We're about to graduate. And they weren't swimming with heavy weights on or something like a dive class where you got to go down in the dark and, you know, get a master diving thing and cut your way out of things with a knife or whatever. I mean, these guys would all be dead 100 feet down in Lake Travis trying to cut their way out of a, you know, netting. It freaked me out, man. It freaked me out because that's who they want. They don't want tough guys anymore. They want drones. And I was watching these cops. They were all looked like they were on roids or lifted weights all day, and they looked like little kids. They had the same look in their eye this guy had. I'm a commando. You have never dealt with anything like you're about to deal for me. And I will kill your families. And I like Obama. And I don't like the gun owners. And only officers should have guns. And you officers are racist, so I'm going to kill you. Like Django. You know, they had some machete attacks all over Latin America in movie theaters and stuff, and after movie theater showings in the U.S. And the media said, oh, no race attacks, Alex, after the movie Machete. Really? Where the Mexicans rise up and kill all the evil white people, where all the white people are evil. And then you have Django, which I will not go see, but I've read now the public boil down of it, that is just designed to create racial tension. And the guy's like, hey, whites are racist, I'm going to kill them. And it just totally feeds into this mindlessness of it all. The discrimination is the bio and chemical weapons in the food and water and the GMO. The discrimination is insect genes being engineered into new Bill Gates clothing where they force vaccinate you. The real discrimination is having $85 billion a month of tax money added to derivatives and destroyed to bankrupt us. In fact, I'm going to go to some of these articles and then go to your calls because I've got to get to this. Let's go to the economy. Then we're going to show Greeks for TV viewers and radio listeners. I'll describe it, battling like in Argentina 12 years ago over food. They were as wealthy as we were 12, 13 years ago, and overnight had their bankers sign them over to the globalist, and they bankrupted them by design. That came out in the IMF World Bank documents 1 year later in March of 2002. And there were doctors and lawyers with their families, good-looking families, you know, not just, you know, like vagabond, you know, congenitally poor people, which is sad as well. A truck had dumped over with a trailer with some cows on it, and they were there with scissors and knives hacking out globulates of meat, gobbling it. Try not eating for a couple days. See how you start acting. And Ted Anderson was down there a decade after it happened on his honeymoon. He got remarried. And he said it was like people that look like Americans. He said good-looking families. He said it freaked him out. He couldn't wait to get out of there. Good-looking families living in doorways and stuff. Like you know, you'd see a woman with a guy in a sports jacket shivering in the corner, because I've seen the videos. I know what Ted's talking about. And because he said it was cold when he was in one particular city. And, you know, the kids are like 12, 13 years old, and he would go and talk to them and find out, yeah, we lost everything. Yeah, I was a doctor. I was a lawyer. I was a shop owner. I mean, this is what happens, folks. It will all just implode. And the thing is, it doesn't have to happen. They're not gearing up for World War III against us because they want to play tiddlywinks. Look at some of these articles. Obama says he will focus on job creation. He's getting rid of the Jobs Council, which mandates that small business groups get government contracts. It just goes to no-bid contract, foreign globalist. Okay, I mean, this is a sick joke. Raising payroll taxes, Obamacare, killing business, massive shrinking in GDP, massive shrinkage in everything. I mean, just designed to bankrupt you, Agenda 21. They even admit that in their policy reports. Here it is. Fed has bought more U.S. debt this year than Treasury has issued. You understand that? The Fed is buying more debt than was even issued. Unbelievable. I don't even know how that's possible. They bought $16.4327 trillion. That's the national debt. But notice we've been signed on to it's 1.5 quadrillion, 6,600. I can't even get these numbers right. They're so big. The global debt they've signed us onto that's fake is 1.4 quadrille, no, 1.5 quadrille. And so the amount that they've signed us onto is 664 trillion. Excuse me. There, I finally, numbers like that, you just can't say them correctly because your mind automatically rounds down because it can't imagine it. So why are we signed on to this and told by the banks we're in debt to them when we've bailed them out for the 600 plus trill, but our debt is 16.4327 trill? See the math there? Now, I want to go to this. This video is up at prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com by Max Slava. Wrote a great article about this. It says, Greeks fight for food. I never imagined I would end up here. The once a bastion of European success and a center of tourism, the country of Greece has become the harbinger of things to come for the rest of the world's developed nations. Images of people struggling to seize bags of tomatoes and leeks thrown from a truck dominated television, triggering a bout of soul-searching over the new depths of poverty and debt-laden country. And again, it's not even their debt. Iceland found out that 90-something%, it was like 92, 93% of their debt wasn't theirs. And they went, well, we're just going to arrest all the banking minister, the finance minister, and these three British banks that run our country. We're just going to arrest you. You told us we owed this. And then when you can't arrest us, and England said the Icelanders were all terrorists, the entire country, that was in the headlines, and that their money would be seized and they couldn't travel anywhere and British Airlines wouldn't fly there, and they said, fine, we don't owe this. And 2 years later, they've arrested a whole bunch of the bank ministers. Some of them have already been convicted and are in jail. But, of course, the bankers that ran them are over in England and the U.S. and Europe. But they just said, you know what, this isn't our debt. Same number in Greece. Around 90% was not their debt. Same thing in Ireland. Same thing. They sign us on to their debt and then tell us how we're deadbeats. And they've had the head of the IMF say the Greeks should work, 6-7 days a week. Well, she is exempt from federal global taxes under the EU. That's what it is, the beginning of the global tax. And see, there's just all this data. That's why it's impossible to cover this news, because there's stories behind every one of these stories. And they're gearing up Homeland Security and 1.7 billion bullets and the bunkers and the checkpoints and the counterterrorism training to target gun owners, because they're going to try to take over and make us pay something that isn't our debt and then raise the taxes. They've raised the taxes 5 times the last 2 years in Greece, saying each time would pay off the debt. And then guess what? It never does. And then it shuts the economy down more. And then the hotels close, and the businesses close, and the factories close, and people are rioting in the streets with no food. Kids are starving, and it's destroying a once beautiful, rich country overnight, destroying confidence. And Max Kaiser a year ago was there during the big demonstrations. He goes over to the big hotel, and it's Forbes, Steve Forbes there, and he goes, "Hey, Max, how you doing?" Because, Max used to run with the Soroses, all of them. He goes, "Hey, man, yeah, this is great. Are you here to invest? We're going to take over everything for pennies on the dollar. Man, we're gutting this sucker." Max was in Reykjavik a year before the fake implosion in 2007, made a BBC it was Al Jazeera documentary saying, I was at the bar making the documentary about it, and the bankers talked about how they were going to implode the economy in the next few years and sign them onto the debt. I mean, this is a plan, and you don't have to be part of it. You don't have to go along with it. You don't have to be an idiot. Remember 4 years ago, we had to bail the banks out, everybody was so mad? It wasn't 880-something billion. That was just the first payment. They signed us on to an impossible. It'd be like if they chained you. A chain you couldn't get off your leg to Mount Rushmore and said, now move that. You're not moving the mountain. Godzilla can't move it, okay? And he isn't real. All right, a conspiracy theorist. I'm not allowed to have an opinion or a view. Only government views are real, and if they say it's real, it is. I'm not allowed to have a view and say Godzilla's not real. I apologize. I forgot. Conspiracy theory is having any original thought in my mind. Nothing exists outside of government. Oh, government, thank you, government. I was getting off the path there for a moment. I was almost like Ted Knight in Caddyshack going, oh, Billy, Billy. Oh, Billy, 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 Billy. All right, let's just stop right there. Let's go to this first clip. But don't worry, here they're going to have all the food stamps ready, all the FEMA things. The government's going to take care of you after you turn those guns in. Let's go ahead and go to this video of them fighting over food and grease. Here it is. Looks like about 100 people begging at the back of a truck for food. Yeah, you know what the austerity program means? Once they bankrupt you and get you where they want you, it's more than 100 people, it's about 200. Then they literally do. Did you know the movie Soylent Green is actually based on real riot trucks and stuff that have been used in Asia? Similar things where it shows the cops wearing the football gear and they're like, this crowd's going to blow. When they run out of the Soylent, you watch. Oh, yeah, it's about to happen. I mean, that is so accurate with Charlton Heston. Can you guys find the Soylent Green thing where the cops are sitting there and they're going to go, this thing's going to blow, get ready. This is their future they have for you, and they plan to shut things down until you are eating people. They are actually calling in Europe and here to make you take the dead bodies of people that die and, quote, turn it into protein. So don't worry, it's going to be fed into vats of bacteria, which then are going to poop out a cheese. You think I'm joking. I can pull up the BBC article. Pull up protein to be, corpses to be turned into recycled protein. And you're going to eat corpses. It's better. Japan government is funding poop that's turned into steaks. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is going to be great. Don't worry. You're going to enjoy it. This crowd, when they run out of that Soylent Green, this crowd's going to blow. Don't worry. There'll be plenty of Soylent Green. Let's go ahead. I shouldn't laugh about it. It's just so sick. Let's go to Clint Eastwood, though. He says if D.C. doesn't give a bleep, he said if D.C. doesn't give a bleep, well then why should any of the rest of us? That's the plan.
It was an example, though, of a
that's
Democrat and a
good. Clint
Republican.
Eastwood. Yeah, absolutely. That's how things go to hell in a handbasket. And the globalists, it's in the 112-point IMF World Bank plan that got leaked. Joseph Stiglitz says he didn't do it. Wink, wink. And it talks about how they destroy your country. And I've been screaming since then, this is their plan. Put it in my book, Descent into Tyranny. The transcript, the documents, all of it. And they're going to do this here. This is their plan. You understand? Now, do we want to be part of this? I don't think so. Your call's coming up.
Attention gardeners and patriots. Drought.
Cross my finger, hope to die, stick a needle in my eye. I will get to this asteroid news at the start of the next hour. I will get to that. I'm going to go to your calls as well. And I've got to get into the Second Amendment and economy news, but I already started getting into the economy news. And DHS purchased 21.6 million bullets, more rounds of ammunition. That's up almost 1.7 billion. The MightyDrudgeReport.com had that as one of its featured stories yesterday. Always appreciate helping get that news out, Drudge. Right now, let's go to your phone calls. Thank you for holding. John in Georgia, you are on the air, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Jones. I listened to a dissertation not too long ago. I can't remember what channel it was on, but they were talking about an internal banking document from 1862 called the Hazard Circular. In it, they discussed the value of man and their livelihood. They discussed chattel slavery versus debt slavery and how much they profited off of chattel slavery, which is ownership, versus debt slavery. And they found out that
I'm familiar with that. It's a famous document. Yeah, and they found that it's better for someone to think they're free and be a debt slave because you get it over and over again.
And it woke me up because I'm a debt slave pretty much. And I was wondering if you had time sometime, could you post an article or discuss that?
Yes, I'd forgotten about that particular circular. There's a bunch of those. There's like one in 1898 where, and this was published in the Banking Association letter it was like internal newspapers just for the banking association. I forget the exact, like the National Banking Association. It was like, Americans are too smart. They're getting uppity. We're going to take over education. We're going to buy up the newspapers. We're going to dumb them down. There was even a book written on that. It's just amazing stuff because it's the same thing. The elites communicate with each other. They've got a lot of minions. They've got to get, the game plan out. You can get their playbook. It's just that it's not widely published. And that's what CFR does. It's like Brookings Institute or others. There's a Brookings Institute is as elite as it gets, and they put a big paper out admitting our government staging the terror attacks and running al-Qaeda. I mean, there's a link to it at Infowars.com. They have a senior retired CIA commander, ran whole operations admitting it, but just saying, you guys need to know this is what's happening. And it's not because they're even saying, get rid of it, it's bad, let's stop. They always couch it slightly like that. It's, oh, yeah, this is all real. I mean, they've got to explain that to Brookings Institute people. I mean, you guys don't know that? You run major companies and stuff? I mean, come on. Come on. This is ridiculous. But I'll get into the MO of the shooter next hour. That is so important to understand everything. But, yes, I'm glad you brought that up. In fact, I wrote it so bad I can't even read my own writing. What was the name of that circular?
Hazard Circular.
I remember it.
In 1862, and the coincidence to me was that it was the same year that Lincoln freed the slaves. And to me, it's tied. I feel like it's tied together.
Well, of course it is. They figured out that, wait, we can just enslave everybody even worse. But there were also, they couldn't hold it back because of the abolitionists. It's a very complex issue. There was a lot of stuff going on. Slavery was falling out of favor in the South as well as people figured out it was being used to leverage out the poor farmers, not the sharecroppers, as they were basically slaves as well. They could leave if they wanted and go starve to death. That was about it. Well, not if they'd signed on. You could be put in prison or killed, but indentured servitude is different than that. The point is there's a lot of different variants. But yes, they figured out that just get everybody as debt slaves. You're absolutely right. I will pull up the Hazard Circular. I think that's online. We'll look into that. God bless you, sir. Great taking calls like that. Dr. Jones from North Carolina, you're up next. And then we're going to go to Catherine, Julie, and many others. Toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231. The next hour is only minutes away. All right, let's continue with your calls, and I'm getting into this near-Earth asteroid, one of the closest on-recorded record. I mean, it's coming mooey close. And real threats that face society and a lot more. Not because we're scared of the threats. We want to do something about the threats. But right now, let's talk to Dr. Jones in North Carolina. Thanks for holding and being patient. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. Very quickly, I got in touch with a friend, and they got me in touch with a family, a young man, 24 years old. His name is Andrew Stevens. He's in the Navy. He was charged with felony attempt, I think even perhaps murder, but definitely felony child abuse. Classic case. The child was 3 months old, all of a sudden became nauseous, became dazed in and out of consciousness. It turns out, of course, the child was damaged from vaccines, the 2-month vaccines. Here's a family. The wife is in the National Guard.
I know. I see this all the time. They get a double goodie because now the doctors tell you, now you may get sick and vomit and have convulsions, but then they arrest you as well because they can't say they did it. That's how the eugenics works. Tell me his name.
The young man's name is Andrew Stevens. He's in jail right now in Newport News. Luckily, his attorney, a public defender, has an engineering background and has defended 7 times people charged with shaken baby syndrome.
Oh, I know, because it didn't exist until the vaccines. So their cover story was all these babies. It's not that they got the shots today. They either died a few months or 18 months when they get the shots. But see, their problem is this, they're so deadly now. You have the convulsion there or in the car, and there's no witnesses. So the cops are like, because, the cops are just order takers. And then they're told when they take the kid back to the hospital goes, the parent did it. Because there's inflammation on the brain, the autoimmune response, and then they send you to jail. I mean, you already brain damaged their kid for fun. You want to put them in jail? And they're like, yeah, black ops. So, yeah, no, I mean, too bad the public's finding out you won't get to kill more kids. Loving little government. So Andrew Stevens, public defender, where is he located?
Newport News. In this case, the baby's alive, but the key was the bleeding started right about the neurosurgeon said, 21 days before the baby got to the emergency room, The bleeding is slow. So this is the same as the Matthew Eapen case with with Louise Woodward way back. The baby, they don't show any signs. The slow drip bleeding into the brain, and then all of a sudden they say it causes damage. The DTaP shot causes scurvy, which causes the bleeding. Moreover, the mother, when she was pregnant, she took a Tdap shot. She also took the flu shot. So again, people have to understand out there, your friends, your family, your cousins.
Listen. They started 4 years ago. You can pull this up. Doctors now say it's normal to have a convulsion, your child's going to need to shove a wooden spoon in their mouth. They're going to flop around, try to bite their tongue off, and they may not talk for a few days. Now, hopefully, you don't figure out we did it so I can put you in jail, honey cakes. The government is so corrupt, ladies and gentlemen. So, in fact, I just got a confirmed story from one of my crew that would blow you away. I haven't been authorized to tell the story yet because I didn't even ask if I could, where it doesn't even matter. Look, we're in trouble. You got a class of people that think they're Marie Antoinette, who think they're God, and they're they're lined up to have an orgy, a political orgy of stealing and grabbing and weirdness. And they feel powerful together. They feel they're arming up against us. They're nuts. They're nuts. And you've still got a lot of good people that work in the system, but they're being spurred on by the corporate interests that want this tyranny. And I'm glad you called in about this gentleman. Sounds like you're trying to help him. Do you have an email so folks can rally to you to try to help these folks?
No, the only contact I have is a public defender, Newport News. The key is people have to realize it's going to happen to your friends, your family. If you don't tell them, do not take the vaccines, you're going to wake up and say, my brother's perfectly fine. He didn't abuse a child. And the jury is going to think, hey, no babies ever get.
Well, they love putting somebody in prison. They're sycophants. Yeah, it's good people and sycophants in this country. You've got to tell people, okay, go ahead and take the shot. But when Billy doesn't talk again, they're going to put you in jail, okay? Now just, okay, they want to kill your kid. We'll be right back. Stay with us. We're about to cover the field, the waterfront, when it comes to key news and information on the economy, on civilization-ending threats to humanity, on huge attacks on the Second Amendment, California introducing legislation to make all semi-auto firearms be turned into the government, and it's just a minor footnote in the news. That's all up at prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com. Again, we are a radio transmission, simulcasting video, and a full production at InfoWarsNews.com or PrisonPlanet.tv. And I want to spend a few minutes, I've already talked about it some, but I really want to give you my take on Los Angeles gunmen motivated by racism. They're now saying in the London Telegraph and ABC News that there were racist police, and that's why he has to go out and shoot white officers. And people are saying, well, could it be staged? They're not going to stage something where somebody's out killing people and then saying he loves Obama and Biden. If somebody faked these manifestos, they have super advanced knowledge that I don't really think very many people have of the mindset of the minion enforcer class. Okay, this person deserves a Nobel Prize in literature if it's fake. And it could be. It could be. I mean, you never know. They may have killed this guy, and this is some psyop, but it just doesn't. There's dozens of little points that say it's not. And we're going to be talking about that. And what does the government think if there's a civil war and the cops aren't out on motorcycles and they're hiding out with one guy? I mean, you know, in the real world, the guy wants to kill cops is going to kill cops. You just have police ready, and when somebody gets killed, you vector in on that and get the guy. And he's all, your tabletop exercises won't help you and all this stuff. I mean, he's playing soldier. He was trained to be a soldier and then to be a cop. And then that didn't work out, so now he's targeting you. That's why you don't want police who play soldier against the citizens. Soldiers go and burn down cities and kill the enemy. Soldiers don't become your police, your peace officers, to negotiate the peace. See, it's the difference between, like, to use a cheesy analogy, a Jedi and a Sith. A Jedi is there to negotiate things and try to calm things down. Here, look, don't let this little one bother you. Let me get you something. I have the death sentence on 12 systems. I mean, you're trying to not get in a confrontation. You're trying to de-escalate things, not prove you are Conan the Barbarian rolled into Audie Murphy. See, you act like Audie Murphy when there's 10 times your number of Germans coming down with a column of trucks and tanks, And then you climb up on a burning tank, seeing you fight other men who are coming to kill you. You know they're coming to kill you. You know it's a stand-up fight. That's another army. You go be a soldier. You're not a soldier pulling me and my family over and shining lights in my face and, where you going? What you doing? Go to North Korea if that's what you think protecting people is, okay? I'm going to try to explain that to you. All right. I said I'd get to it, and I'm already getting to it. One of the biggest news stories out there the last few days is this asteroid. An asteroid half the size of a U.S. football field will pass between Earth and orbiting satellites next week, sparing the human race from the fate suffered by dinosaurs, NASA says. We have a NASA video we're going to go to in a moment. The 150-foot diameter asteroid named 2012 DA-14 will pass about 17,000 miles above Earth on February 15th. That sounds far away. That is like grazing us. Lower than the orbit of some satellites and the closest recorded approach of an object of its size. Closest recorded. It will travel 7.8 kilometers a second or 17,400 miles an hour. See, it's not just that these big iron or nickel meteorites are deadly because of their size. It's their speed, folks. Or about 8 times the speed of a rifle shot. I'm sorry, I said 4 times earlier from memory. NASA scientists said yesterday, no Earth impact is possible. We're going to play a clip from a NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory that does all the computer calculations. And you know what? I'm sure they're right, okay? The point is that if it was going to be hitting us, they won't be telling you. They would just know that people are going to see it coming in on their telescopes. Most new objects are planets, Kuiper Belt, asteroids, you name it, are found by amateur astronomers because there are just millions of people now with pretty powerful telescopes. I'm one of them, who go out and are looking at the night sky and then finding things. So I'm not saying this is happening, but if it was, we'd be in trouble. And I've always said we need Earth defense. And some have called for this, but not under the UN. A country like the United States needs to put it out in deep orbit and have a treaty and maybe have a camera, there on it, wiring back so everybody knows it's not a weapon system. The problem is it violates treaties because you can swing it back around and aim it at the Earth. But they've already got that. and I don't normally follow this argument that we've already got drones, we're already watching you. You go ahead and accept it, you have no privacy. See, I don't follow that argument of, okay, we did conquer you, so just sit down and shut up. A, we're not conquered. Our own government can't hold Baghdad because it's not our government. They're a bunch of crooks. There's many examples, but when I say they've already got space-based weapons, space is so completely classified, but I've talked to some of the top people involved, like Dr. Bob Bowman and others, and it's on record that over 80% of all shuttle operations were classified military. They've got particle beams, DU, Sabos, Smart Pebble, Brilliant Pebble. The only reason Dr. Bowman could tell me about this is he said that the scientists and the heads of NASA are so arrogant that he said, I can only tell you this and where it's at because they said it on C-SPAN here and they said it there and they violated national security. But he said in the 1970s, this is at the whole 9/11 event in 2006 in California that was on C-SPAN. I'm back there eating lunch with him and everybody's out of the room. Nobody wants to talk to a top rocket scientist. They're all too busy. I want to talk to Charlie Sheen. And I've got him. I go, look, just tell me. I know they got space planes, Black Manta. And he just looked and he said, look, when Star Wars didn't exist, there were robot craft with DU Sabos that could decapitate all the world leaders on Earth in a matter of hours. And he said, the only reason I can tell you that is because this person, that person, and this person all said it separately, and he gave me the record of where it was. And he said, that is as high classified as it gets, what I just told you, but I can tell you it because these idiots, and one of them in a debate with him on C-SPAN, another C-SPAN show, screwed up and said, well, that's not true because of the, ZRQX9 program. I mean, and Bowman was there in the late 70s into the early 80s before they even announced it. I mean, in the 70s, they had drone remote control spacecraft with DU meteor guns on board. Can you imagine what they've got now? See, I mean, you see some article about, I saw one Wednesday going, yes, in fact, pull it up. It's London Telegraph. You can do it, but I got to get to these videos here. They're like, yes, the government is going to install black boxes in all telecommunications companies to track everything you do in lifetime. They did that 30 years ago. It's in the 96 Telecommunications Act that they upgraded them with $9 billion here. Of course I knew every phone company had the NSA in it, and I always said that, and whistleblowers came out and said, the phone company is the NSA. Yes, yes. The big NSA bases are the spies all dialed in, listening to what you're doing and computer algorithms and pulling up what you said. There's total recordings of it. I mean, they had 35 years ago. They had robots that could kill every leader on Earth in a matter of hours with 100-pound sabos that they fire off the back of a rocket that goes up to 30, 40, 50,000 miles an hour like this meteor. And it doesn't matter if you're in 2 miles under a mountain, you're dead. You're dead. I mean, pinpoint precision right through the rock. You're dead. That's why the globalists are so arrogant. But here's the deal, globalists. I'm gonna skip this network break. This is so important. I'm going to give you guys a little news flash here. You're not in control of yourselves. Man, I can look at top globalists who actually have power. And you guys are on megalomaniac, narcissistic power trips, loving the sound of your own voice. And you're not in control of all this stuff. Yeah, you're in control of us. You ain't in control of yourself. Comprende? I mean, does that get across to you? Go watch Forbidden Planet if you want to understand, okay? Dr. Morpheus thought he was in control. He was not in control. And you're not in control, and you better get yourself in control. I know you're so evil and so dark, you're not. But you're mid-level and high-level people, look, you know this is going a bad place. We got to stop these people. Come hell or high water, we got to stop them. Now, let's go ahead and go to the video here of, and it turns out, ladies and gentlemen, that Space Command has dispatched a spacecraft, and the asteroid is on a collision course with Earth, and that they're hoping to take it out with some boosters. They're going to fire at it and have mounted on the side to direct it away, but they've got to get the booster rockets up to the speed to be able to come up against it at 17,400 miles an hour to land, to then thrust it out away from the Earth. And we've got live feed of that. We're going to it right now. Here it is. April is coming up. April 1st, joke early. No, the asteroid's 17,000 miles away is where it's going to pass. And they've got all the trajectory and stuff. And I hope they're right. And moving at 17,400 miles an hour. And there was Space Command out there dealing with it. Before that video was even available, before they had video games like that in, like, what was it, like 1982 or something, asteroids, they had real weapon systems in space, 1979. So the year that was out, the Pentagon had a bunch of Black Mana attack craft in low orbit flying around with DU weapons. Can you imagine what they've got now? Okay, let's go to the real NASA video saying that there's no threat, no big deal. By the way, my enemies will cut that joke out and say that I actually said an asteroid was going to kill us, but I don't care, whatever. Okay, Pookie, go ahead.
Asteroid 2012 DA-14 is an object about half the size of a football field in diameter that is going to pass very close to the Earth on February 15th. Coming from the south to the north, it actually gets to within 17,200 miles of the Earth's surface and will pass interior to the geosynchronous satellites and the GPS satellites. But there's really no chance of the asteroid hitting the Earth and very little chance it will hit a satellite. Although this object gets very close to the Earth on February 15th, it's fairly small as asteroids go.
You know, I didn't know that Ted Anderson did the voiceovers
but if you happen to be
Laboratory.
located in Eastern Europe, Asia, Australia, and you know where to look, and you have a pair of binoculars, it will indeed be visible. The asteroid was discovered by a group of Spanish astronomers in La Sagra Observatory in southern Spain. An object the size of DA-14 actually impacted the Earth on June 30th, 1908, the so-called Tunguska event. An object of about 30 or 40 meters came down into the Earth's atmosphere and exploded, leveling trees for 820 square miles. The close approach of this object 2012 DA-14 on February 15th is nothing to worry about. Its orbit is very well known. We know exactly where it's going to go, and it cannot hit the Earth. 20 years ago, we probably wouldn't have found this object, but now NASA's observing the skies nightly and picking up these objects, and we track them for 100 years into the future and see if any of them make interesting close Earth approaches, not only because of the threat issue, but because these objects are important for science, they're important for future resources, as well as threats.
Okay, so there you go. If you were a radio listener, again, I made the joke that the asteroid is going to hit the Earth, and they'd send a spaceship up to shoot it down, and I played video from the 1979 game. Was it Space Invaders? No, it's Asteroid. Hey, do you have the game Asteroids? Do you have the game Asteroids? No, but my dad's got Asteroids. I did the same joke I did earlier. I actually wrote that joke. And Hillary Clinton, did you see the new poll out? It says she is the most popular person in America. And I think that's true. I don't think they're lying in these polls sometimes, because I'd be a conspiracy theorist. If you question known certified liars, that is the real definition of a conspiracy theorist. If you're gullible, do whatever you're told, and just sit down and shut up and drink fluoride water, you're a good person. Okay, let's go to Catherine in Texas. Thank you for joining us today.
You doing all right?
I'm doing all right, Catherine.
Well, I just want to, first of all, just thank you for showcasing those who uphold the Constitution and exposing those who don't. And also, I was a teacher here in Texas for almost 20 years, and I quit because they are definitely dumbing down, and I did not want to be part of that anymore. And
and then it always gets worse and worse, and they say, oh, the teaching system, what are we going to do? The educational system, it's failing. Oh, we need more money, more federal control. And then the test scores get worse, from the best in the world to the lowest in the industrialized world, and then some. It's like the drug war. Oh, the drug war's failing. No, it's not. They keep it illegal to keep the price high, to then be able to fill the prisons with people who use drugs who were nonviolent, who they're now going to decriminalize and let out and put political people in the prisons. See, the new prison boom is going to be for gun owners.
Yeah, I believe that. And that's another thing is, when you were on Piers Morgan, well, you just pretty jump-started that dialogue on the Second Amendment and what's, the attacks on it. I mean, I think that really woke people up. I mean, that's just me. But going back to that education, and then there's a former president's brother that wants to push this computer program and have that masquerade as some type of education. Kids need direct learning from a human being.
Look, when they tried to get rid of phonics, that should have told people what was happening. My grandmother was a teacher. She was even one of the teachers with a PhD or whatever it is. The PhD. And she taught in public schools, and she just was like, it's dumbing them down. It doesn't work. And she would secretly still teach them the old stuff that worked. That's why they're all going to computers where you don't have a choice. See, and it's not that I'm against computers. Computers could be good. It's that they're perfect for tyrants to centralize them. I'm for computers, but we don't want computers where they put a robot that spies on everything you do in your phone, in your computer, or on the side of your house as a smart meter.
Yeah, don't even go there. Yeah. Well, and also I wanted to touch on this program they have. It's called C-Scope that they're using here in Texas. I worked at a school district where a person thought, I guess he thought he was doing okay. He was the principal. He wanted to absolutely get rid of all the textbooks and just have this C-Scope. And you were talking one time when you deal with these people, these neoliberals or whatever that are doing this, they're kind of nasty people. Well, whenever you would call the region office and say, hey, there's a big mistake here in this, and they didn't like that. Well, you just teach it anyway, or something. Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I really appreciate you having that Charlotte Iserbit on there. She's
awesome. But I'll tell you what's crazy is more and more the average people can't even talk or read. It's like they're not even real. They're like TV heads that just shuffle around. God bless you, Catherine. Good to hear from you. Julie in California, you're on the air. Military helicopters over your home. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. Last night, with all this deal with this guy running around, it was about 11:15. We had an actual military jet. I live 2 miles from probably one of the busiest general aviation airports in the country, Van Nuys Airport. There are no flights that take off out of there after 10 o'clock at night. 11:15, this jet came flying over, and I mean, it literally woke myself, my husband, and my son out of a dead sleep.
Well, maybe the troops should blow off some steam and bomb your house like that B-2 did a few years ago. A couple houses got bombed. I mean, look, they're shooting up women's cars just because it's the same make and model, not the same color, but it's like, it's okay, it's a silver car, that one's bright blue, shoot it up. That one's yellow, but sir, it's silver. Just fire. So what? I think those women should apologize for the police shooting him. Kind of like when Cheney shot the guy and he apologized to him. I think they should apologize to the police. Don't you?
No, I don't. Because, I think
they should.
20 minutes later, we had the helicopters. But these women were shot at 50 times. I mean, how in the world do you how do you mistake a blue Toyota for a blue Nissan that doesn't have a...
Hold on, are you trying to have common sense and say that two different colors and that it was wrong that they did that? Are you a conspiracy theorist?
And then they also shot a black Honda truck.
Oh.
Right, 3 shots right to the right of the driver.
I didn't know about that. Oh, they're having another orgy. Okay. Well, we'll see. What's going to happen is, I'm going to talk about this after the break. I'm going to get to it in a moment. I have to really conform my thoughts here because I've got a bunch of them, a bunch of points on this issue. But Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, former head of the Treasury Department and policy, is up on Infowars.com with another one of his articles. It has happened here. And he explains, look, the police state isn't coming, it's here. I heard of that before. That's the tagline for Police State 4, The Rise of FEMA. It ain't coming. Martial law isn't coming. All over the country, police have anti-gang checkpoints. And yeah, there are gangs. There are dangerous people. Sure, they may do some good with it. It doesn't matter. The feds are directing it with grants to get over the Fourth Amendment. The federal government gives grants if the police will run warrantless checkpoints, just to get them used to it. And, hey, cops, we know where the gangbangers are selling drugs. I'll be happy to take you there. I can tell a drug dealer. Of course, they can, too. They're ordered where to go look for drug dealers. Why don't you go look at the local Wells Fargo or Wachovia or any of the other big banks? They've all on record been caught laundering billions a month in narcotics money and owning the aircraft with the drugs on board.
We're on the mark.
All right, we are back live, ladies and gentlemen, and I will continue with Eric Smedley, Kathy, Brian, Jeremy, and others. If I had another son, I'd name him something like Smedley or Buck or something. We thought we were going to have another baby, but Lord's will, it didn't happen. But we would have named him Buck if it was a boy. Anyways, I do have one son. I have 2 great daughters. Okay, let me just get back into the news here. I've got to get to Bilderberg 2013, secret location uncovered. I want to get into this police officer. Again, I shot a video about this last night, but now we know more about the guy. Anti-terrorism training, all of this. And I'm not saying he absolutely did it, but reading the manifestos, there's 2 of them, looking at it all, looking at how the police are acting, how he's a big Obama supporter. That's the last false flag they'd run. And it just, there's a lot of factors there that fit into it being accurate and real. Things like Aurora. I mean, I saw an LA Times article attacking me, and it was like, the crazies believe the government was funding him. What was it, $30-something thousand with a Department of Defense grant in brain-machine interface? A top Air Force psychiatrist who's been over whole secret programs assigned to him. Witnesses reporting multiple flashbangs, different sides, on and on and on. See, I could have spent hours on that article today. In fact, I sent it to Rob Dew in an IM. I may do a special report tonight for the Nightly News just on that subject. Because the LA Times says we're claiming all this stuff, and then their headline's a lie. Conspiracy theorist posing as shooting victims. And then later it says, one police officer said they might even be posing as. But they run the headline like it's happening and then act like I'm doing it. And I guess the average idiot gets out the LA Times, breaks it open. All right, let's read. Oh, these dirty people posing as victims. Let me read her. Alex Jones, that crazy person. Oh, he says the government was giving the guy money. How ridiculous is that? But we did find the Soylent Green clip, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But first off, this is out of the Journal of Nature. And I've seen this report, no exaggeration, reading the news intently every day for at least 17 years, probably 50 times. But that's just a dead reckoning because this discovery's made over and over again, a similar discovery. Can we have a document cam shot on this? Small molecule drug drives cancer cells to suicide. And they found they can put all different sorts of different types of pellets of different drugs, different chemicals, you name it, in cancers and knock them out almost all the time. And my issue is it's like Raiders of the Lost Ark at the end where there's that big warehouse of all the stuff they're keeping secret. I mean, it is amazing. I'm not saying they have 100% cures, but they've got a cocktail of things from all the scientists I've talked to in my own research that are so much better than chemotherapy and all the rest of this. I mean, Linus Pauling, when did he got the Nobel Prize in the early 60s for knocking out cancer in almost every case if you caught it early enough with mega dosages of vitamin C. And that's a treatment by alternative groups, but people almost always go to them after they've had the chemotherapy, after they've already, it's amazing. Now, that said, this ties into a plug here. This was, of course, in Bloomberg and The Street, and the Wall Street Journal carried it. AL International, that's InfoWarsHealth.com, announces result of longevity clinical research studies performed by Clemson University Institute of Nutraceutical Research. We covered this last week, but they found beyond tangy tangerine, and by the way, people that don't want to have to get it in the liquid, the Healthy Start Pack is now in pill form. The Alex Pack is now in pill form, discounted at InfoWarsHealth.com or InfoWarsTeam.com. I should add that. But this is Clemson University with Beyond Tangy Tangerine and Ultimate Classic, where it didn't hurt the regular cells in the colon of cancerous colons, but knocked out the cancer. It killed 95%, the Ultimate Classic, of cancerous colon cells, and 65% of cancerous liver cells, 65% of cancerous stomach cells, and 30% of cancerous breast cells. Beyond Tangy Tangerine kills 60% of cancerous colon cells, 65% of cancerous liver, stomach cells, and 30% of cancerous breast cells. I mean, that's Clemson saying that. And people are like, oh, you can't say something did something with cancer. Here's another study, Journal of Nature, that's Clemson. They put this cancer researchers have pinned down a molecule that can kickstart the body's own tumor-destroying systems, makes your body see it as outside and eat it, triggering cell death in cancers, but not healthy tissue in mice. And that's great because even if it metastasizes, they just put these particles in there and it goes to the cancer. It's like an antibiotic for cancer. And it'll get shelved and disappear as well. A lot of other great products. Root Beer Belly, great probiotic that is better than others because it's encapsulated and goes through the stomach acid into the gut. Amazing. That's all at InfoWarsHealth.com. The Triple Chocolate Treat, natural, gluten-free, dairy-free, and it's just got all of these amazing vitamins and minerals and the essence of blueberries in it and a bunch of other stuff. It's all available right now at InfoWarsHealth.com. And your purchase at InfoWarsHealth.com makes this transmission possible. So there is a plug right there. Now, or you can also call 888-789-9277, 888-789-9277. Forgot about that, 888-789-9277, and they can answer. The folks on the InfoWars team can answer all of your questions right there. Some of them pharmacists, some of them doctors, but others all trained and, given all the basic info. Full catalog, videos, all there at InfoWarsHealth.com or InfoWarsTeam.com. Okay, now let's shift gears here back into something I covered a little bit last hour. And that is Fed has bought more U.S. government debt this year than Treasuries issued. That's called monetizing debt. Not a good thing. That is out of CNS News. Watch Greeks fight for food. Hundreds of people just begging at the back of a food truck because a few potatoes fell out and it sent them into a piranha-like frenzy. This happens everywhere. And it's so painful to see a once very wealthy nation destroyed by design, being signed on to the derivatives that wasn't their debt, and their taxes raised 4 times in the last few years to an impossible level, and the IMF ordering them all to work at least 6 days a week or 55 hours to pay for the IMF and World Bank's own debt they signed them onto. It's like putting a ball and chain on your leg and go, now pay me for that ball and chain I just put on your leg. It's just horrible. And Obama says he will focus on job creation. Well, he said he quit torturing, too. Remember a year ago, the media said it was a conspiracy theory that they bought 600 million bullets, and I was wrong to talk about it. And then a few months ago, it was a conspiracy, 1.6 billion hadn't been bought, even though it had been bought. Well, now it's all over the news. DHS has purchased another 21.16 million more rounds of ammunition. So the total altogether is close to 1.7 billion. That's enough to wage a 30-year major war if you count Vietnam standards. And it violates the Geneva Convention. They're buying Hollow Point 40, Hollow Point 223. You don't really need that with 223, just newsflash. It already fragments, okay? That's what I learned while they like that bullet. It's very deadly. And then you've got, of course, the 308. So Geneva Convention says you can't go into torture people, but they still do it. Now, that said, I wanted to play you from Soylent Green. That's actually a pro-eugenics film. It's got euthanasia in it, a world state. The oceans have died. And I wanted to point out the asteroids aren't the threat, and they could put some space-based systems in there to take them out because they don't think big ones hit but every few million years, but maybe that's wrong. Comparatively, though, they've got articles out today where they've reprogrammed. FDA approves first GMO flu vaccine containing reprogrammed insect virus. And I see stuff like this every day. They've got cows that are part human, pigs that are part human, cows that are part spider and human and part orangutan. And they're just farms all over the world doing this. Monkeys you could buy 15 years ago that have jellyfish genes in their backs, so their backs glow blue, like out of Blade Runner you can buy in Hong Kong. I mean, we're living in Buck Rogers land. And the elite are on power trips deciding they don't need us anymore because they've already got life extension technologies. They've got, don't believe me, they got it. Are they immortal? No, they got it, though. Can they still die in a car wreck? Yes. That's why they want us all sequestered, put into compact cities to be exterminated. Once that's in place, because the future is theirs, the world is theirs, the future belongs to them. Yeah, Obama's slogan, we own the future, that's a little joke on everybody. So I thought I would show you this Rockefeller Foundation connected great film, but you should see it to understand the dystopic idea they're selling you where you will be starved, but they won't be starved. And I figured out they want stuff to get out of hand. They want all these bioweapons to get out. They want things they publish the mouse pox that kills 90+% of humans that come in contact with it. They publish how to make it. It's very easy. A mid-level microbiologist with a few $100,000 could do it. They want this to happen. They want to let others do it. And then they're going to use those first outbreaks to put in a compact clampdown system, and then they're going to bring even greater control in after that. So let's go ahead now and go to... Now, there's footage of what's going on in Greece right now. People begging for food. Begging for food, and it isn't coming. The scoops are on the way. The scoops are on the way. Man, talk about a big bug. This new thing in video is like you have a giant bug covering the entire... Can't you have a small bug on there? It's just ridiculous. All righty then. Let's give you some Bilderberg news. We've got an interesting vet suicide story somebody wants to tell us about. We're going to Kathy. We got Eric wants to talk about Constitution Solutions. And we got a brother's kid got suspended for potato gun. Notice how they put toy guns all over the store, but then your kid's playing with it, the cops come in your front yard. And they just do this to act like it's bad, act like it's evil. This is just what the system does now. I mean, now you'll just see cop cars parked outside shooting ranges. And I talked to one range owner. They don't even ask them to be there. It's like, go keep an eye on those gun owners. To create the perception we're criminals, when on average, everybody knows gun owners are one of the most law-abiding groups out there. And see, they're going to use this guy, even though they don't think they staged it, this cop killer guy, reported cop killer, alleged cop killer, to demonize military and police. The new show Founding Fathers finally got to see an episode of it. It's a Afghan vet who's been turned to Al-Qaeda, and he's secretly recruiting the militia to overthrow America, fooling them. Now, remember, all the internal stuff said it. This is 5 years, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. The new West Point reports last year, and now there's a new one this year, that the Tea Party would join with Al-Qaeda. And people said, how are they going to sell the public that the Tea Party, who's totally Islamophobic, would ever join Al-Qaeda? Well, the show's all about how the pro-gun guy's really Al-Qaeda, and he's a white guy, blonde hair, blue eyes. That's who they say the new Al-Qaeda is. And see, that's what they say about me. They say, I'm really Al-Qaeda. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's why I don't support using Al-Qaeda in Libya and Syria. And you've got the CIA at Brookings admitting they're running Al-Qaeda and staging stuff right now. It's admitted if you just... They know you don't read books. So they just communicate publicly. Yeah, we run Al-Qaeda. Everything's good. And, I mean, it's amazing. I feel sorry for people that have never felt any guidance, even from their own inner voice, whatever you call it. They're just deadpan, shark-eyed, dead-eyed. Everybody can hear it, can't you? Everybody knows we're in trouble. Everybody knows we got crooks running things. Stop playing games like we don't. I was just talking to Melissa Melton. She said, oh, yeah, this thing about Hillary's the most popular woman in America, that is like such PR. It'd be like, hey, Michael Jackson's the most popular man in America a day after he's caught, reportedly being a pedophile. Whether that's true or not, the point is, I mean, it's like, hey, did you hear? Gonorrhea is now the most popular person in America. That's her name, gonorrhea. Isn't that a pretty name? We'll name your child that? And she said it was on CNN. They paraded her out her last day. It was just, it was purportedly on CNN. She's the most popular person in America. She's so, everyone loves her. What do you do in the face of being involved in Benghazi and being caught covering it up and ordering an 8-hour shan down? Well, you announce you're the most important person, most loved person in America. I mean, it's like Al Gore saying, I invented the internet. That video's on YouTube. Yes, I invented the internet. Oh. I mean, it's okay. Then I'm going to announce, folks. I created everything. I don't want to be blasphemous to even say the joke. It'd be like saying I am God. I mean, oh well, he says he's God. I mean, are you saying Al Gore is a liar? Again, top stories up at Infowars.com. I'm going to do 20 minutes, 30 minutes overdrive into the fourth hour of the show. We should start doing the whole fourth hour live here, and go to. Eric and Kathy and Smedley and Brian and Jeremy, who are patiently holding. We will get to you. But you know what? You'd think I'd be going after Piers Morgan right now when the guy in his manifesto talked about how much he loved Piers Morgan. Can I have a document cam shot, please, for TV viewers? This is directly from the Associated Press right here, snippets of it. Where he talked about how much he loved Obama, how he absolutely loves Joe Biden. He thinks he's such a real guy. Talk about falling for bad actors. The police are racist, so they've got to be dealt with. And, saying he saw cops kick people in the face. Well, then you're a big guy. Invite them to a boxing match for it or report what they did or go public to the media. You don't then kill random patrol white police because of that. You don't then randomly... say I'm going to kill cops' families, and then the cops, it just shows what a sick culture it's become in places like L.A. The cops have now, she said another car shot up. Will you guys look up police shoot up another car? Because that'll be the headline if they did. They shoot up women on a paper route in a different color car, and they're just harassing everyone and completely insane. I mean, just such entitlement, because the public deserves this. I watch the public around police, and they literally bow down and get scared and have a response and grovel, because you have the predator response. Well, I'm not having the predator response of flight. Now, I try to control myself and go, well, that's probably a nice officer, probably a nice person. Don't have a, that's an animal that wants to hurt my family response. I'm not saying cops are animals. I'm saying a grizzly bear just walked over the hill. What am I going to do? But our founders said, treat government like a grizzly bear. You see? But look, Piers Morgan, the guy hates the NRA, loves Piers Morgan, and says, Wayne LaPierre, you vile piece of inhuman bleeper. You never even showed 30 seconds of empathy. Well, what, fake being manipulated? More guns means more children safe. I mean, this is just incredible. Absolutely incredible. We'll be right back. This guy going crazy out in California does not help the gun grabber program, because he's been former military who was also a cop. That's why they're trying to focus on his military service, because they want to demonize the military, because that's a group they don't control, not the police. I'm going to get more into this after your calls. That's why I'm going into overdrive, is to take your calls and cover this. But right now, let's go to your phone calls. We're going to get to Eric, and then I promise I'm going to go to Kathy next in the next segment. I want to hear her story, so stay with us, please, Kathy. Eric in New Mexico, you're on the air. Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you for having me. First-time caller, long-time listener. Are you there?
Sure am, brother.
Hello? Oh, yeah. Okay. Didn't hear anything.
Hello?
Okay.
Hello? Go ahead.
Okay. The reason I was calling is because I understand what's going on around the world and everything and all that, and then here in the United States, how it's just basically everybody's pushing against the Constitution and everything, the powers that be. Is it time for people to basically stop paying their taxes? I mean, that's... Well,
I have to say this: everybody's got to choose their battle. So I won't give people individual. I'm not going to tell individuals what I think they should do. Generally, try to eat organic. Try to grow your own garden. Try to get to know good people. Stop caring what the system thinks. Stop caring if you don't have $1 million in the bank. Stop feeling inadequate. Get right with God. Get right with your husband and wife. Get right with your children. Get right with your parents. Try to lay down old grudges with people that really don't deserve it. Try to come together and really focus on the globalists as the main threat, and try to expose them every way you can. But yes, if I didn't have 49 crew members and 5 or 6 contractors, and I wasn't doing this battle, I would not be paying any of these taxes. The Federal Reserve tax and the income tax, 1913 total fraud, doesn't go to run the country, designed to put us into debt. The power to tax is the power to destroy. And I would be trying to do the paperless thing, or I'd do like the illegals do. I'd get fake IDs and fake names and just live off the grid. See, a lot of folks try to live off the grid, but then they do it completely off the grid. No, just, go change your name to Juan Gonzalez. I'm serious, get Mexican plates, and that's the end of it. And because I'm not even bashing the illegals. I mean, that's what they do. Why not? The globalists do that. The globalists give themselves diplomatic immunity. So I would do whatever you can not to help the system, not to give it anything. But more than that, when you see a cop strutting around down the street staring at people, pull over and go, hey, officer. And if he bows up to you, say, why are you acting so tough? Why are you stomping around like you're God? You look like a fool. And if he does something to you, give me your ID. And go, wait a minute, I made first contact. I came over here and talked to you. Why are you acting like... I mean, if you saw a regular guy walking along, going, looking at people, you go, what a weirdo. But a cop does it. Oh, man, that's really good. And look, most police don't like guys like that either. The problem is they're trying to only have those type of guys on the force now. And... again, I've seen the same look in white cops, black cops, it doesn't matter, that we see in the eyes and the MO of this gentleman out in California. Can you imagine if Christopher Dorner was a Tea Party member? I mean, it would be the end of the world. if this guy was a Tea Partier. See, it fits the script. If it was a Tea Partier black guy, ooh, that'd be even better for him, because then we can demonize, true groups at once. Well, wait, military, and then the fact that he was black, they would demonize. But again, it doesn't fit the script to have the cop, because it's not they care about cops. They want that to be off record, can't question that, because that's the domestic force they're going to try to use to go after the public. But again, the biggest angle to all of this, Eric, is this. I'll cover it when I get back briefly, then go to Kathy. The absolute key, straight ahead. Let me tell you, a day of bass fishing and firing 50 cal and 308, I just absolutely feel like I had a five-month vacation. It's amazing that you've got 38 million people in California, and you've got the police running scared. They've now shot up a second vehicle. First, it was a blue Dodge truck. The suspect's truck was silver. 2 women in it throwing papers out the back. If you don't know what a paper route is, boy, I thought 5-year-olds know that. And I'm not supposed to criticize that. Well, see, the police are not above being criticized, because if they are, they will turn into tyrants. And the New York police and others, L.A. police, when they do stuff like this, they need to be criticized. And by the way, the police chief of L.A. is calling for us to have all our semi-autos taken, and they're introducing legislation to do it. So when cops come for your guns, folks, you better start criticizing them. A lot of folks are like, look, I'll turn my guns in. If the cops say turn them in, I am. Worshipping the government is not what an American's supposed to do. I know that I'm not supposed to have an opinion as an American. That's called a conspiracy theory. Anything other than what the government says is a conspiracy theory. Now, if you don't like the TSA grabbing your genitals, they call you a conspiracy theorist. It's happened to me. It's happened to others. It'd be like, I don't like pineapple on my pizza. Why are you a conspiracy theorist? Well, no, I just don't want pineapple. Oh, my gosh, he thinks he doesn't like pineapple. Having a view is now a conspiracy theory. You understand? Now, they are just going crazy in fear. When statistically, I guarantee you cops are dying every couple days, because I know the Texas statistics. Texas is like 38 million, almost 30 million. California is 38 million. If you count the illegal aliens, 50 million. I mean, come on. I mean, right there, you're going to have cops dying all the time in car wrecks. Are they not on the road in fear? Yes, you randomly may get shot by this guy. So they're not doing motorcycle, foot patrols. Because what's next? Get out of your uniforms? That's next, folks. There are already not many areas are taking the decals off the vehicles. It's called secret police. It always follows this. And you've got this anti-terror guy who wants to be the soldier. The alleged shooter fits the perfect MO. And then, he sees what he believes is racism, which I'm sure it's going on. It's tribalism. They've got departments that are mainly black, and other people get discriminated against. Departments that are mainly white, it happens. Humans, it's not racism. It's tribal pack mentality. It's cliques. You can have one white country club, and you can have another white country club, and they don't like each other. Okay? I mean, that's just what people do. They get in cliques. Families have cliques where 2 siblings gang up on the other one with the parents. I mean, we all know about this. It's like the Star Trek episode where one group has black on one side and white on the other, and the other leading group, the elite group, it's flipped. Genetics are the same except for that, but one group oppresses the other. They will use anything. In Africa, you'll have one tribe on the other side of the river and the other side. They follow the same religion. They still kill each other. Same thing here. Different Scottish tribes constantly killing each other. They all look the same, act the same culture. Doesn't matter. Constantly killing each other. Okay? And all the photos and video of the cops with their guns. Hey, cops, what if this guy was targeting general citizens? Can we walk around with guns? Oh, no, you're not properly trained. See, that's where this is all going. And I said I'd go to your phone calls. Here's the big enchilada. Perhaps we should have all 38 million Californians who aren't government officials. Because in California, the government officials, not servants, are exempt from the red light cameras, exempt from warrants for speeding. Oh, you didn't know that over 1 million bureaucrats are exempt. So everyone but state or federal employees should show up at the end of your street with your children, and the police will drop by you'll be told by cell phone. That's why they don't have government alerts on the cell phones. So you can get your orders to when to show up, and you show up politely. And you think I'm being funny. Nazi Germany did this. People would show up, be rounded up, put in a pit, and they'd shoot people. And then folks would politely, with their hat in hand, run down into the pit, buy other dead bodies. You've seen the film footage, to be killed. Now, a conspiracy theorist would resist. because they'd think, I'm about to be killed. I might as well try to, go after one of these guys. Or I heard they're killing folks over in the next town. We have no hope but to fight back. But see, I'm a bad man. I'm a very bad man. You understand? I'm, like people that founded this country in my mind and in my mindset. But that's evil. I mean, you go to Infowars.com, we have a graphic of Thomas Jefferson up there that says no free man shall ever be debarred the use of arms, because only a free man has arms, by the way. That's kind of a trick question. We're going to send that out on Facebook right now. I'm also going to Twitter that. Tell the guys to tweet that out for me. Thank you. So this is what we're dealing with. Well, I guess Christy doing a great job is listening right now, so she can do that. Go to Real Alex Jones on Twitter if you want that. This is what frustrates me. They've got drones, secret arrests, torture bases. The government runs al-Qaeda. The Brookings Institute has come out and said, yes, the government is running al-Qaeda in Africa and other countries to take over. They're the pretext to take over. But that's not scary. I mean, the news said Hillary is the most popular person in America. They had a poll. And again, I could go to a Klan rally and poll their favorite person. They'd say Adolf Hitler. It's who they poll. I mean, this propaganda is so cartoon level. But see, I always thought it was cartoon level and that it was bad propaganda. No, it's good. By putting really bad, dumbed-down stuff out, people just get lost in it because they can't compute. It's like a slow loris attack. Isn't a denial of service, really. It goes in with certain functions that doesn't really overload the general processors at first, but the way I've had it described is that it starts a process of a request and then never lets the process follow out, just keeps asking for it. And then it shuts down your website. And that's kind of what it is. It's like, yeah, we got drones, we're going to kill you and secretly arrest you, but he has a peace prize, so it's okay. And yeah, the government runs al-Qaeda, and yeah, we're putting cancer viruses in the vaccines, but yeah, but it's good for you. You may have a seizure and die, but just don't worry about it. The extremists don't like it, and yeah, lead is now good for you, and so is melamine, and yeah. And it's just meant to be like, what? What? Well, we're not in a tyranny, but you better not film the police or we'll arrest you. And it's just meant to just overwhelm you where you just give up. Stop even caring what they're saying, other than to analyze it, to laugh at it, to spit on the ground. I mean, it's time to spit on the ground in front of government, unless the government person says, I'm a servant, I apologize, you're right, I'm doing everything I can to fix this. It's time to say, I don't respect you, because you work for a system. You're under the system. You came riding out of Mordor. They're like, well, I'm not a bad person. Really, you're in the uniform of Mordor. All right, I'm ranting, and I said I'd go to your calls. Kathy, interesting vet suicide story. I'd say terrifying, saddening. What is the story there I see you have on the screen?
Alex? Am I on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Alex, I've watched you and listened to you since day one on Austin Access, and I enjoyed your preaching on Wednesday, so keep it up.
Hey, is this Kathy, one of the church ladies I've met before?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay. How you doing?
But it's been a long time since I've seen you. I'm usually with my aunt.
Yes, how's she doing?
Yes, she's doing great, and she sends you her love and her prayers. And
you know why I like you ladies? It's not that you're older. I mean, you're a lot younger, but I've known you for about 16 years or so 17 years. So we've all gotten older. Is that you guys have that same glow in your eyes that my grandmother has? Good Christian ladies.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you. Well, I was just so excited when you were preaching the other day. I was just jumping up and down and had to let my aunt know. She's 91 and a half now today.
Wow.
So, anyway. But I wanted to share with you that I was at the grocery store a few days after Christmas, and I was visiting with a lady at the grocery store, and she told me her son had died around the 1st of December, and he had killed himself, and he was a veteran, and I was asking her, and I was sharing with her a few things that you had said, and she said that within their circle of family and friends, that within that circle, they had found out that 2 other guys had also committed suicide on the same day, and they didn't even know each other. And she said all 3 had set up the same ritual of this, like a white towel over their head, and had these room deodorizers in a circle around them. And all
right, well, you need to come to the office then on Monday. We need to do an investigation, because I've known you, I don't know, like 16 years at least, since about 1996 or so. and know you and you, well, we've, I think, been out to dinner once or twice. But the point is that and you run in a really conservative, nice, a believable circle, and you're saying they're doing bizarre rituals. This sounds like mind control to me. Describe slowly what they're doing.
I don't even know the lady. I mean, this was just a conversation that we struck up, and then, of course, I was interested, and so I started asking her questions and all. And so this is basically what she told me. She just said that that they had, each one of them had this towel, and she was kind of, like maybe I don't know what size, but anyway, I think she said it was a white towel. She said two of them had put it over their head. The other one her son had laid it out in front of him. And she just made some, and she said, and what was so strange is all three of them were found with these room deodorizers in a circle in the room around them. And they had shot themselves in the mouth with their guns. And she said, she said, we've just been wondering if the military wasn't teaching them how to kill themselves.
Well, with the room deodorizers, I've studied mind control. It won't just be the catcher in the rye as a verbal trigger. They'll a lot of times do the programming. It only takes a few weeks now with the drugs and stuff they've got. They should be checking their brains for chips and things, too. That's old technology, but they don't like that because it can be found. And a lot of times they'll have smells associated with the programming. And then they'll have simulators while they're on hallucinogenic drugs and other things where they simulate killing themselves. And then the electrodes they've got running to their brain, torturing them. They've got other systems that's turned off when they kill themselves. But then they're not in the horrible pain until the trigger word is given, and they call them up on the telephone. People have seen this in movies because, folks, that's based on real stuff. And they give them generally a bunch of code words to make sure it's not something they accidentally hear. But like, dolphin, tower, red shield. I mean, I'm not giving actual programs out. I'm just randomly giving things out that are similar to what they would do. And then the person goes into a trance and then goes and does it. And they've been giving the troops so many drugs, so many experiments. Troops I've talked to say, we don't remember anything for like weeks and time went by. Yeah, no, I mean, they want robots, but robots aren't as good as humans yet. So they're practicing with mind control. That's what the Marine Corps, the Army, the no sleep, the shaving the heads, that's old German mind control, 200 years old. All right, I'm babbling and torturing people. Kathy, I'm going to give you my phone number. I think I've given it to you years ago, but I'd like you to get to that lady or come by the office sometime next week. We're all real busy. Obviously, you are too, I'm sure. But I'd like to talk to that lady because they're killing themselves at rates, last time I saw, 7 times any previous record, 22 a day. And it's like they're being programmed with a disposal switch. And notice there's not checkpoints and freaking out and cops running around with machine guns. 22 vets are killing themselves a day. Oh, my gosh, end of the world. 3 cops were killed in Southern California. End of the world, end of the world. No, they just want to keep it quiet and just salute the troops and thank them for what they've done, but be hollow and don't actually try to get them out of the evil wars. Don't try to find out why they're killing themselves. What do you think's behind all this? I mean, I know they're testing all sorts of drugs on them.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've just always wondered about the mind control. And,
that is mind control. Taking Prozac will make you go crazy sometimes and kill people, but it's not going to make everybody do the same ritual like an army ant or something.
Oh, I mean, I was wondering about the trigger effect, kind of like something like you were talking about.
No, that's directly out of programming. So, see, they need some compulsive ritual they do in some of the classic programming. See, I need to talk to her. Were they in, like, special operations and things? They're killing a bunch of Navy SEALs are getting murdered every week or something. I mean, folks, there's definitely a bunch of stuff going on. You see, after you've gone and done all this stuff for them, they're going to kill you, especially if you were in really, really dark type stuff. Well, listen, Kathy, I'm going to give you my number, and I'll try to call you later today, or you can try to call me, or just give me your number, and God bless you. I'll put you back on hold. Anything else that she told you we should know?
No, she just said her husband was going to, try to investigate it. And so, but if I see her again at the store, I'll be sure to, try to.
And she came off as credible to you.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Well, you know what? We need to have a time maybe on the Sunday show, 4 to 6 or something, to open the phones up for families to talk about veterans. I'm doing it Sunday, 1 hour on people to call in whose family members have committed suicide. They're going to hate this because they want you just to forget about the veterans and just salute them at the football game. And then meanwhile, just keep quiet about why they're all killing themselves. We're going to do that Sunday. Guys, make me Sunday spend an hour for people's reports of suicide to humanize these people. Let's go to Smedley in Montana. Smedley. Go ahead, sir.
Howdy from FEMA Region 8, formerly known as Big Sky Country. Just a couple of quick comments, Alex, on InfoWars related, and I'll get to my main one real quick. The other day you did a segment on flipping the script. Very, very powerful. I played it to a couple of my friends that normally will not listen to anything. I think I woke a couple of them up. So,
well, no, I mean, look, it's happening now. They're flipping from Al-Qaeda is why we're taking your rights to, it's you, you're the terrorist. The army's for you. I mean, it's all happening.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just watching that you were on fire that day, buddy. You were on fire. And so if you're too busy to expound on that, that may be my entry in the Paul Revere contest. I'll try to do something on that. The other thing I wanted to say is just your staff, Paul, Aaron, Rob, Darren, David, Melissa, Jakari, Mike Adams. These people are just incredible. And I used to be a Dallas Cowboy, knew who was on the waiver wire. I mean, Dallas Cowboy fan, I should say. And now I don't even pay attention. I pay attention to this superstar. These guys are my superstars. The other thing I wanted to say was there was a congressman. You talk a lot of times about the power of talk radio. Well, there was this congressman on talk radio the other day, and usually people call in and it's stuff nondescript like bus schedules and all this kind of stuff, right? Well, he was on the other day, and man, I'm telling you, he was sweating. I could feel it. Talk about your feet being held to the fire. The calls, just one after the other, was Agenda 21. By the way, I guess Rosa Corey's coming up this way in a couple months. He was being hit with questions on preserving the Second Amendment, drones, fluoride in the water. And here in Montana, you can call back and get on again. So there were people calling back and getting on 2 and 3 times and just hammering on this.
No, it's awesome. But remember, I think it's good the police have shot up 2 people's vehicles who were innocent that didn't even look like the suspect's vehicle. I think all Californians should arrange themselves at the end of the block for the police to drive by and shoot them and their families for their safety. I mean, that's reasonable, isn't it? No, seriously, I hope they catch this guy. It's really terrible what's happening. But he is a big Obama and Piers Morgan supporter. God bless you.